Time to bring forth the pain. Never wanna be on a part of me. No reform, no refrain. Do you wanna see what's inside of me? No remorse, just disdain. If I try to be what you lie to me. Time to bring forth.
For fiction to becomes an aquarium. Scripted lies to calm the hysteria. Pretty little fish where your colors fade. All you filter the scum that your breed all made. Hey, hey, what you take us for? Soaking wet, flip-flopping on the floor. Time has come, man, to do the right thing. Yet we don't give a damn about your left, right wing. Man in the middle's gonna take his sling. Loaded up with stones and crown the king. If you strike a blow, will the masses grow? Only turn against can stop the blood flow.
Time to bring forth the pain.
Never wanna be on a part of me.
No reform, no refrain.
Do you wanna see what's inside of me?
No remorse, just disdain.
If I try to be what you lie to me.
Time to bring forth.
Do or die. Do or die. Do or die. Do or.
Soldiers line up, civilians fall down. Blood makes chalk lines all over the damn town. Think what we want you to think, little brother. Say what we want you to say to another. You ain't got a choice, bro, no, you ain't got a clue. Or when you gonna come, or who's bumming you? Pawns and peons and lies and cheats. Who's gonna stop for this government to eat? With your guns, your blades, anything that kills. If we're gonna make a stand, the blood's gotta spill. Kill or be killed, live and may die. Time to stand up, let them know why. Time to bring forth the pain.
Never wanna be not a part of me.
No reform, no refrain.
Do you wanna see what's inside of me?
No remorse, just disdain.
If I try to be what you lie to me.
Time to bring forth the pain.
Feel the pain.
It's a do or die. 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 It's a do or die.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me, Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. It is November 6th, 2022, which is 1106-2022. So for the math geeks, I'll break it down like I broke it down on the football show. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. There's another 6 and 2 ones. Today is November 6th, the birthday of my twins. So happy birthday to my daughter, Brenna. Brenna, B-R-E-N-N-A. Don't mind my accent. And my son, Michael Jr. They're 19 years old, which makes me 79 years old, oddly enough. Joining me now, as always, is Buddy Money Fair, the ace of beers. What's up, buddy?
Good evening, Mike. How you doing tonight?
Oh, you know how I'm doing.
Oh, the Giants aren't playing. I'm surprised you're not like.
Dude, I've been
Like,
in party mode all day. I've been eating strips of pizza that other people wouldn't believe is pizza. It's just like sauce. I know that the
bakery
strips.
pizza. It's delicious.
Yeah, I had spinach
Rhode
pie.
Island staple.
I'm putting hot sauce on spinach pies. I feel bloated. I don't know.
Well, speaking of feeling bloated, Mike, I hate to say it makes me feel bloated, but sometimes if I have too many of them, it makes me feel bloated. Like tonight's beer. It's not going to make me feel bloated. But it's a oh god, this is a horrible intro. It's it comes to us from a lovely brewery down in West Kingston, Rhode Island, by the name of Shades On Beer Company. It's a lovely brewery. It's right over near the URI campus. They have a vast array of beers, but the beer that I'm having tonight it's called Ocean Lust. That's what it looks like, right?
That's a bit of a strong name.
Ocean Lust. I have it, ironically enough, in a line cider glass, but more about that later. Ocean Lust. It's been brewed with Vic Secret hops, which presents the drinker with a woody aromatic smell. So that's what you do when you're a real beer drinker, Mike. You take a sip, you take a smell, smell it first, and then you take a taste.
Yeah.
It's like a sweet fruit. It's so the hop itself, the Vic Secret, which is from Australia, is made to present like with sweet fruit and what else, citrusy, and have that wood aromatic smell. But it's beer, Mike. It's still
wood aromatic,
good, delicious, 8% alcohol by volume, brewed right here in Rhode Island. Beer.
Now,
delicious.
buddy, do we not have a big announcement at the end of the show? Like a big announcement.
A big announcement we have at the end of the show.
Out of these four, which one should I
hint? A lime cider glass with beer in it.
Which one should I drink? Which one am I drinking?
Like, I would go with. Honestly.
Which one's the most like regular beer?
At our last legitimate paranormal party, I bought you a lot of Blue Moon. There's a one there that's like a Blue Moon-esque. It's a Belgian wheat beer.
Yes. Oh no,
that one right there. Yeah.
Just the blue one.
I would either do that one or the Chip Wuxit, named for Chip Sampson, the owner of Lion Cider, who graciously donated us 12 beers for the show. So tonight I'm going to be drinking Ocean Lust. It's their double. And then after I'm done with that, because it's only going to take me like 5 minutes, I'm going to move on to the single version of that, a Little Ocean. It's also brewed with Vic Secret, but includes African Queen and Simcoe hops. And it's fruity and delicious, Mike.
Yeah, it reminds me of you. I'm going to go with this one. And there you go. I'll let you know how it is, buddy. Can you do the introduction? Here we go,
Mike. I would love to do the introduction. Joining us live from the lovely state of New York. Unlike the Giants, he's a return guest. He was one of our original like big name guests, I guess you could say. He's a survivor. He's an author. He's a lecturer on the paranormal circuit. He's been on television. His story's been told on television shows like Schools. Oh God,
come on, try.
School Spirits and My Horror Story. Oh, bam! Look at me. And he's got a new show premiering on Netflix. Please welcome Christopher. Jesus
DeCesare.
DeCesare. Jesus Christ, the Italian name. Welcome,
Chris.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. You said woody aromatic smell.
Yeah.
I smell like too. It's very embarrassing. So
yeah, well, it's good in a beer, not in a drink.
Right.
Into that a lot at the bars, Chris. Huh? You have a very woody aromatic smell. Excuse me. I'm just random obsession. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Just saying the facts, sir.
Why is no one answering me? Mike tried the Buffalo Check.
Oh yeah.
From Shadoins, I think you have one there. All right.
Yeah, we have shades on here, Jeff. We have all shades on.
People get excited about the beer this much. Chris, we get a lot of things going on with the beers. We actually do. But you have a lot of things going on. Let me ask you this. So the last time we talked was what? September of 2021?
March of 2021.
Almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago.
Were you a granddad then? Or are you just becoming a granddad then?
Just became a granddad. Now she's 3.5.
Holy Christ.
Oh, wow.
How's that going?
Amazing. I love her.
All right. She's a girl. I'm sorry. What's her name?
Yeah, her name's Sylvia. I love her. She's, I remember I was doing my grandpa duties, taking her for a walk in the little wagon outside. And I told her the animals, a dog goes roof and the cat goes meow. So she's starting to say, moo, moo. I'm like, Sylvia, there's no cows. There's no cows. She's pointing. So I'll follow her finger. It was the moon. She never saw it before. She saw maybe the moon in the sky. So we see it every day, but it's so nice to have a young person with you that make you seem all new again, So I love her. She makes me young.
So the best part about having kids was that I got to play again. Like you got to go in a couple of years where you were playing, like you were flat out like pretending to be something, and you letting go, and it was like being a kid again. And it's like I wish you could bottle that up. Like I wish there was a place like a bar where we all agreed we're gonna just play. Like we're gonna go play games, board games. We're gonna improv. We're gonna do stuff. You know what I mean? But no one wants to do that. People don't even want to get together anymore.
No.
Chris, let me ask you this. So I wanna just sum this up for the. See, I have now taken on the moniker of that I speak for the dumb. And what I mean by that is I speak for people that like, they've never heard of stories before. They've never heard of what we're talking about. So before we jump into where I would like to jump in, how can we do a nice background recap just to give an idea about this story? You know what I mean? Like, I know you get the show coming on. I don't want to give too much, but I want to figure out a way to let people know what we're talking about. Like
I'll
in
play
your own words.
that clip from Airplane where dinosaurs and they became oil, and then that's probably the best thing to do.
That would be the best thing to do if I could. If I had the right to it, I would.
It's-
But all right, here's what I remember. I could do it my way. You were a cross-country runner. You're at school. And what I remember the most is so this thing starts. Your roommate hangs around for only so long. Your roommate's the one that freaked out over the pillow being in the air.
Yeah.
But then you had one friend who wrote everything down and stayed the whole time.
That was Jeff.
All right. I wanted to talk about that for a second because, like, when I go back on that, here's one thing I think about, right? Coming out of the last year or two since we've spoken, I would say even the whole world has changed socially, just the way they are, right? And I think people that are friends have changed. I don't know how to say that without being negative. I think that real friends have either shown their true colors or they have shown their true colors. That guy, Jeff, was such a rare find for you at that moment. Like that, when I go back and I listen to it, I keep thinking, like, man, Jeff deserves a lot of credit. Like, God damn, I want to hung in it. I don't know if I could have hung in that long. Like,
Yeah.
is you still talk to him?
Yeah. In fact, I sorry, the audience. I have a bit of a allergy thing here. Yeah. He and his wife came to visit 3 weeks ago, and we stay in touch. We work on projects together. We're best of friends.
That's awesome.
The coolest thing about that is that he didn't just help me; he ran to me. In other words, he and I were friends, but him investing in me during the haunting made us best friends. It was his choice to get involved with the madness and the craziness, and I think part of that's because it's interesting, right? What's going on in the room next door, and are there really ghosts, and how do you?
Yeah, he's got to be a little twisted in the head to begin with, in a good
Right.
way. I'm just saying,
Well,
like, that,
yeah, but then also though, I think that he saw a person who he thought was good suffering. And I think that part of his makeup is he likes to help people. So between the two, interesting the paranormal, he was a child watching In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, and he tells, he used to think as a kid, all these things were happening. There was a Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster, UFOs, vampires. But then at the college, as a teenager, I don't know if that's true, really. I don't start to lose faith that could actually be real. It's just fairy tale. So for him to then be told, hey, next door is a ghost, I'm not kidding you. That was a chance for him also, like you're saying, not just to play, but to be a kid again, like believe in something beyond just the mundane. And so I thought for both of us, it was a perfect storm.
So what's weird is I made a correlation between that and I know it sounds silly, but mental illness. Now, and I'm not saying you had mental illness. What I'm saying is mental illness is something people talk about and they seem concerned about. But then when you deal with somebody who has mental illness, you can only take so much. It seems like some people can stick by that person no matter what, knowing their problems and dealing with them. Some people can only take so much and they have to get away from it. So it's like, is that person wrong for getting away from it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It depends on who you are as a person. But that also kind of relates to this guy, Jeff, and the type of person that he is. Now, for me, when it comes to like, if I know somebody that has a mental illness and it becomes like a lot, I know a couple people. I still stay in touch. So I'm willing to take the hit when it comes to stuff like that. Like, and I'm willing to put up with their craziness because they're going to be willing to put up with my craziness. So yeah, that's a huge bond. But you get what I'm saying? Like to have somebody that's going to go, no, you know what? I'm going to stay with you. Like, even though
somebody can stick through, somebody can stick through like some heavy symptomatic shit going on.
Today was that's a good friend. Today was New York City Marathon. And to train for a marathon, to run the whole marathon, takes a lot. It's not fun to train or to do, but that's accomplishment. And I think we are dealing with bankruptcy, depression, addiction, psychosis, whatever it is. You have to invest in somebody 100% to be able to help them. Not everyone wants to run a marathon. Not everyone is built to assist somebody going through a crisis. Some people draw well. Some people listen well. I mean, everyone's different. So it's no shame on somebody for saying, I just can't take this anymore. And I'll talk about Paul, my first roommate. Good person, smart person, athletic, creative. He couldn't take it anymore. It's just too crazy for him to maintain a sense of self. And he left the room. Do I begrudge him? No. That's the best choice for him. Jeff, on the other hand, he was compelled to understand what this was about. And in his mind, I wasn't crazy. He had known me for a little while. He said I was very stable. Nothing bothered me. I just always happy all the time, very down to earth. And so he thought that my reaction to this, the fear, the neurosis was bizarre to him. And he wanted to think, well, what's causing it? And so one of his goals was to, as my friend, see if he could prove it was outside my head, not in my head, which is why he took the notes and the photographs and the recording so he could establish it's not in here. You're not going crazy. It's out there. But he didn't know at first. So he made the initial investment to say, let's help this guy out.
It's almost speechless. Like when I go back and I listen to that part of the first show, like that he stuck in with you. But for everybody listening, so you're up at college. Even though you're a marathon runner, you're still too far away from home.
Yeah.
I laugh at that all the time because when I was writing down my notes, it's like he was too far away from home, but he's a marathon runner. I'm thinking, well, it's gonna be longer than a
2.5 hour drive, yeah.
But anyways, so and then your dad came, and that was all right. So I don't get scared doing these shows. Like I don't usually get scared because nothing's really scary. But when you said your dad's reaction, that buddy drink as an Italian scared me a lot because I understood why he stood up, what he was doing. Because I'm going to tell you this. We went on the USS Salem.
Yes, John, good guy.
So I went down there. First time I've ever gone to any place like this, right, Chris? The whole time I'm staring something down every room I go, and I don't know why. And I'm not staring it down to fight it, but I swear to God, every time I go in a room, it's like someone was sizing me up, and I would just have to stare at them and like talk in my head to them. It was the weirdest thing. Like that was one of the weirdest experiences because I felt like somebody was trying to get my attention.
Right.
But so like you're at school, and I guess what's bizarre to local people here is it starts with the Warrens.
Yes, Ed and Lorraine.
That's so. Since the show with you, we've had so much to do with that house, like as far as having the Johnsons on and all the different stuff about it. I've heard about it. And it's like, but then here's the thing. They say that place was haunted, right? The whole house, right? I didn't even know there's like 6 movies that are somewhat connected to that thing. 6. No. Anything that has 6 movies is about 4 too many. Like anything. You could sum anything up at 2 movies if you tried. I mean, trilogies are great, unless it's Rocky. All right. Anyways, but so people keep telling me that place is haunted, all right? The house, everything. However, I feel like almost the Warrens had something with them too, because like, explain your meeting with her one more time, because that's not the house that kind of was talking to you. That was her.
Well, yeah, I want to jump back to your point of being scared. My dad was a boxer as a kid.
All right, good.
He was an Italian kid at the time when it wasn't cool to be Italian. You had to fight your way. He was too dark to be the white team and too light to be the dark team.
There it is. No one understands that. I say that. I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I see this all the time. Italians, when we came over, the Irish would not let the Italians over a certain line on Federal Hill. And they refused to refer to Italians as white.
Right.
And that sounds silly, but they just did. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, right. And so, he had to be tough. He faced a lot of, he didn't afford college, but he won an essay contest. He wrote it in like 3 days and won a scholarship to college. So all on his back, he put everything on himself. A very brave man. I don't remember ever being scared. And then when we were having the attacks to college, people being hurt, craziness was all happening there. And I called my dad and said, listen, I don't know what's going on, but it's real. I can't do this anymore. He got in his car and he drove up and he brought with him a handgun. He had a baseball bat. He had a crucifix with holy water in it. He didn't know what the hell was going on, but I'm his son. He said to me, I don't know what's happening. Whatever's here goes through me. And even though at the time I was just as tall as he was, just as strong as he was, I'm still a kid. And it felt real nice to have my dad who took me at his knee and tell me stories about growing up and things, and told me to throw a baseball. Just, it was nice to have my dad there and care about me. And so he said, go to sleep. Just go to get some sleep. I hadn't slept in months. And so I woke up in the morning. He was in the same spot. I hadn't moved in like 6-7 hours. I said, hey, you okay, Dad? He goes, let's go for a run. All right. So we just got our running stuff on. We just ran through the campus. There's the dew on the ground. The birds were out. Just didn't say a word. Just ran. We ran for mile after mile, 3 miles, 4. And that was it. Then we got home, got the place, we showered and stuff. And he goes, I'm heading home now. Do me a favor. Just change your room. Like what? He goes, change your room. The thing was, I didn't know what that meant. Like, wow, except that he must have experienced something that telling me he didn't want to scare me. But he had the courage and strength to say to me, listen, you can handle this. I'm going to leave you here because you can handle this. It wasn't until the sci-fi show was done 27 years later that he actually, for the first time, said what happened. He never told me, but he heard us going on sci-fi. He knew that it was a big risk for me to go out there and share my soul. And so he said, I'll be part of that. I wasn't even know he was part of that. And so the night that it aired on June 27, 2012, I'm having a little I'm on TV, yay party, with pizza. And that was my father's face. I'm like, Dad, what the? He started talking about the presence in the closet and things like that. And all those, it was amazing for me to hear him talk for the first time. He didn't talk about things he didn't like. It wasn't his way. You just move on, keep moving ahead. People fought in Vietnam War, keep moving ahead. People came back to the country for new life, keep moving ahead. You don't give up. And so I was very proud of him. But he said, yeah, there was. So I called him up after the show. He said, yeah, there was something in that closet. The door opened up a little bit, and I could see something standing in there. I mean, couldn't shoot it because it goes to the wall, And all I know is that I believe you can take care of it, and that if you could change your room, if not, you take care of it. I believe in you. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So going back to the Warrens, I had no interest, zero interest in the paranormal, zero, nada. I like baseball, ice cream, music. I was a very down-to-earth kind of dude, And I tell you, my friend Jeff next door, he said, listen, there's a big presentation tonight at the auditorium. Ed and Lorraine Warren coming to their demonologists. I'm like, I'll pass. He goes, no, they're really cool. Emily O'Hara. I said, I'll pass. He goes, it's free. I'm like, well, if it's free, I guess I could probably go. What the hell?
Why not?
And so,
it's college.
I went, and they were fascinating. They're fascinating to watch. I mean, looking back now historically at what they meant to the field, how they inspired thousands of people to movies and things, I feel kind of gratified as a teenager. I got to see them in their prime, and it was amazing that I didn't know what they were saying was true or not. I mean, I saw the slides, the pictures on the screen. I heard the EVPs they played. I heard them and they were interesting, but I didn't know if it was real, but it was a fun show. It was interesting. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like watching Star Trek or Game of Thrones. I mean, I don't know if it's real, but I'm buying into it. But the weird part was during the whole time, there's 250 of us in the auditorium. They kept looking at me, Lorraine. I said, you looking at me? I think so. She kept saying, like attracts like. Again, like, I'm like thinking, no, it doesn't. Take a magnet, like ends repel. That doesn't make any sense at all. I found out a few weeks later she was right about spirituality. Maybe not in terms of scientific polls, but it's spirituality. Yes, people are attracted to each other. And some people suggest that maybe they brought the ghosts there, that maybe it was their fault. I don't think that's the case. I do know that hearing them and seeing them speak made me question my doubt. I like empiricism. I like to be able to touch it, see it, smell it, hear it, to know it's there. Don't snowball me. Don't tell me things to pee in my leg. Don't do that. I was very worried of people being con artists, but they didn't seem to act that way, and they seemed to really believe what they were saying. So I thought, you know what? Maybe it's possible. Maybe that can happen. I remember my great grandmother, Mary Mariucci. 1903 born, 1903. And she lived the slums of Newburgh. There's tires and broken glass in the backyards, and she had a rose garden. She was a little 4'9", quit school at like 14.
That's pretty tall for Italian. Okay.
Her, yeah, it's a big Yoda. But remember I was 4 years old. She went back to her rose garden, and she said to me, "Honey, the flowers are like children. If you water them and talk to them, they grow big and strong." And after the hunting ended, in April of '85, I went to see her again, but now she's in her mid-80s. And she made some homemade Italian wedding bell soup. And I I mowed her lawn for her. And I'm
Did it have the Scott all in it?
yes.
Yeah.
And I'm on the lawn, and she goes, stop, honey, stop. She goes, what did I tell you when you were small? I'm like, when I was 4? She says, remember what I told you? I'm like, I do. About the flowers and the children. Good boy, honey. Kiss on the cheek, and went back in the house. It was important to her. She knew about being nurturing, about being kind to people, kind to children. And she went back in the house. Her roses have been gone for 30 years. She's been gone for 30 years, but here and here, they live. And so I was very lucky to have that. And she told me a story one time. She saw the Virgin Mary or somebody. She was in her bed and she woke up and there was this woman in this almost like a shawl kind of thing. And she was almost glowing and she looked like a ghost, she said. And the ghost was very upset. And my grandma said, what's the matter? Talk to me. And this ghost shook her head and said, do better, do better. And so I took my grandma to church every week. All the things she did, just to be as good as she could be. So there was a memory I had of ghosts, but that was it. And that could be somebody who's 80 being delusionary, and so I didn't know that would be the case. But soon after that, as you know, as Buddy knows, a week and a half later, the haunting started in full effect. The voices, the shadows, everything.
All right. So I've been writing questions down, and Sarah, who is one of our favorites, she's been putting questions up. So let me start with one she's asked, but I also was going to ask. Did you wish that your dad spoke to you sooner?
No. You know people in your life. You know how they are, what makes them happy and not happy. If someone says, hey, avocado, I'm not going to give him avocado. It was enough for me that he cared enough to come see me and make sure I was okay as a son. That's the bottom line. He could have said nothing was there. He could have said 55 things were there. It didn't matter to me. I just liked that he cared about me and he said, you got this. So I was very happy with that. But I was very interested to hear what he'd say years later, but I'm not going to push it.
Chris, I'll tell you what she asked. So she posed this question. I'll show you exactly right here. So that's what I just asked you. I could actually answer that for you, speaking on behalf of Italian dads. First of all, he's not going to burden you with a drink, buddy. He's not going to burden you with anything else. Anything he sees, he's going to keep to himself. And it's like, that's why, that's why someone like me, drops dead at 2 years when I'm 79, because I'm holding everything in. You don't want to tell them that stuff, because why burden the kids with it, right? So why didn't he tell you sooner? I don't think he wanted to really freak you out.
Right.
In his own way, he was trying to tell you maybe you should get out of there. And maybe that night, I don't want to say he made peace with it, but I guarantee he introduced himself to it.
Yeah, and he didn't want to encourage talk about that because that makes more talk. And what if you talk more about it, more things happen? So I think he said, get out of there, put in a box and move on. Get a career, get a family, you got to do, put them in the box. It's not going to help you. Don't let it pull you back, hold you back.
So, but sorry. So you stay now. Before I get to the Warners for a second, but you stay. After the Warren, so you meet the Warrens, and then all of a sudden you start getting attacked, basically. But you're not connecting that at all to the conversation she had with you, where she didn't either want to touch your hand or something. Now, I feel like, dude, I gotta be honest. If I was like Magnum PI and Buddy was what's the guy that he used to call to? Whatever, you're the other guy.
You're the other guy.
So I would be like, all right, let's do the math on this.
Yeah.
So there's this kid Chris. He's a great runner. He got a great head of hair. He likes Sammy Hagar. Everything's going good. He meets the Warners, and then all of a sudden,
Higgins,
he gets attacked by a demon. So I don't know. I'm being honest, Chris. I think I would put that together. That's where I would go, buddy.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, it sounds logical. It sounds like the next logical step in a haunt, if you will.
Buddy, as the side guy to Magnum PI, all you have to say is it sounds logical. Just say it sounds logical. Just keep it.
Sounds logical, Mike.
Thank you, buddy. Chris.
See, and that's why with Twitter, people say the first thing that comes to their mind that becomes the fact. Yeah, it does seem like that A plus B equals C kind of thing, but that wasn't the case, I don't think. And the reason I was thrown off the stage by Ed is because Lorraine got nervous by my presence. And as I went to shake your hand like everybody else was doing, she said, I'm not going to shake your hand. I don't want to know my future. I thought, what does that even mean? I had a chance to talk to her daughter, Judy, and her husband, Tony. about 4 or 5 years ago, Emma Rain Warden's daughter, at an event not too far from my home. And she got there, she goes, "Oh my gosh, you're Chris, you're the ghost boy, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "My mom loved you." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think that's the same Chris. Let me explain to you what happened and how your father threw me off of the stage in front of everybody I know." And she goes, "Oh, no, it wasn't about you. It was about my mom." Her mom was a psychic, a medium. She would glean things. And when they got their start, she would have a feeling about a house and would think, "I don't know, let's find out." He'd get it, pull the car over, get an easel out, and start painting the house. They're like, "What are you guys doing out there?" "I'm painting your house. Come see." So they come out of the house, and Lorraine would say, "Hey, you have a nice house. Anything weird happen in the house? Anything strange?" "Oh, yeah." They have to start by doing that, by getting people out of their house, talk about their homes, and Ed began to believe what she was doing with her gift. Like, wow, and that became a whole new thing. Started talking at auditoriums, at a middle school, $50, things like that. All of a sudden became this brand, 20 years later. But yeah, so the daughter explained to me that her mom said there was this kid with this aura, this huge aura, and it blocked her. She couldn't read anybody. It stopped her from doing what she's paid to do.
Like
So
Rick
they're paid
James.
to do lectures. So
Like Rick James.
What's that?
Like Rick James.
I
Remember
guess,
when Chappelle saw him? I saw his aura.
yes, I'm not that cool, but yes, I suppose. And that's what happened. So Ed, sensing she was losing her ability to read the audience, had to get off the stage real quick, had to put me off. So it wasn't a personal thing, but I didn't know that for a long time. The interesting thing about the ghost was that I didn't want to know who it was. I didn't want to know how it started. I wanted it to end. I wasn't investigating. At no point was I investigating with K2 meters and things. I wanted it to stop. And my friends and I were doing one thing, trying to get it to stop. But because Jeff wanted to do two things, prove it wasn't in my head, and he did that, and then prove what it was for people beyond us to experience it. Because listen, if you have a ghost picture, cool. A ghost tape, cool. You can't have those things, right? Take the time. And he's the one who got Dr. Kessler, the psychologist professor, to help us out with the tapes. There's a professor of psychology helping us get these sounds, and we got the priest coming in the room. So it wasn't just a bunch of kids smoking pot in the basement. We weren't fooling around. We were really involved with everybody around us, So my dad, the priest, the professor, law enforcement came. It was an amazing, weird thing. And I can tell you that it wasn't until maybe a quarter century later I began to understand what was happening and putting the clues together. Hindsight's pretty cool. And sometimes giving your space some time between events, you can recover from it and then analyze it without any kind of fear. When you're in the middle of a divorce, you can't think anything straight. So everything's personal, everything's bad. When you're outside the divorce, look back and say, "You know what? I should have seen that coming. I don't want to see that." And that's how it goes. That's just being human.
Yeah. So when we first had the show, I remember hearing about it, and I think you might have been like one of the first people that I was really like, I believe what this guy's telling me completely, because like I was so new to hearing paranormal stories.
You said that night.
It was true. So, and I've said this before on a couple of shows, but it ties in and it attaches to me. The day after Christmas this last year, my mom passed. It was really weird. It was a really weird thing. And my mom said that she would haunt us for the rest of our lives. She's like, "I'm going to haunt you as much as I can." And I'm like, "Okay." And she said to my brothers, and Chris, I've had things happen to me now that are really bizarre. Like on my birthday, right? Now, every year my mom would buy me something with the Giants. So I'm a Giants fan. Like my mom would get my younger brother an Eagles shirt or something, me a Giants, my older brother Dolphins. Clockwork, right?
Yeah.
I realized it's the first birthday I'm not going to get anything from my mom, right? I'm like, wow. So I'm leaving Target. I buy a pack of NFL football cards, and they had both Giants rookies, Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau, in it. Now, Chris, to other people, that's a coincidence, but I'm like, wow. All right. So the day goes on. Now, my mom always said my dad was a Blue Jay, right?
Right.
She used to always claim he was a Blue Jay in the yard. I come home, I sit down on the swing from after getting those cards, and two fucking Blue Jays land in front of me. Now I'm going, all right, this isn't cool. I can't deal with this because I didn't, like you were saying in the beginning, I'm just pushing.
Right.
I end up in the house, something else happens. It's crazy. Then my wife comes down to talk to me. I'm like, look, she's trying to get a hold of me because she knows how hard I'm taking this. She knows where I've gone and where I'm at. She's trying to reach me, and that's freaking me out more. She's like, all right, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. As soon as my wife turns the corner, you know when your phone gets a page and you only can text, you can only read like the byline, whatever's up on the screen?
Yeah.
It said, Felicia, we are trying to get a hold of you. The minute my wife took the turn, I got a text. It said, Felicia, we're trying to get a hold of you. I'm like, it's my mom. I'm like, what the like what else can she do? I was like, you know what? And I try to tell some people that story, and I guess it's just the way that I tell it. I don't even want them to believe me because it's so ridiculous that I think like it can't be true. But there were like 4 or 5 things that happened that would make it true. And dude, as this show is going on, I've worried that I've lowered my veil, kind of like you did when you went to that Warren thing. Like I think if anything, like maybe Warren's in attaching to you, but somehow just her even acknowledging you as someone she wouldn't shake hands with could do something that would drop that veil.
Well, yeah, but you're not used to experiencing things like that. It's kind of like when you're a kid and your mom buys you something. So your friends are going to get from mom, but it's not for them. It's for you. But a new experience, you go back to our childhood. What do? You tell people about it. And so the first thing is I tell people about my mom going to visit me if she passed. But it's not really for them. It's for you. They don't have to believe it. You do.
There
it's
you
a
go.
bit for you.
There it is. So
It's very subjective.
So here, that's all right. So Chris, so since we've been doing this show, right, it's evolved, and I've been pushing towards this one point. The best part about paranormal, and paranormal goes from like, if they made it a encyclopedia like that, was it Britannica of paranormal?
Yeah,
you'd have like 700 things because everything's paranormal.
yeah.
But the best type, and the only really type that I'm very interested in, is person to person like experiences, right?
Mhm.
Because I've been saying, what footage are you going to show us or picture nowadays that people go, yeah, I believe you? It's just that no one believes anything anymore. We're just so cynical and everything's been so whitewashed. But when you talk to somebody and you hear a personal experience, I can tell when someone's telling me bullshit and when someone's not telling me bullshit. When they're not telling me bullshit over the show, I freak out. I'm like, holy shit, they're not lying to me. Like, I worry because I'm wondering, am I dropping mine? Because I'm starting to believe in all these stories.
I don't think it's a bad thing to expand your horizons. I really don't. It's like having your first drink. You have a drink, it'll be okay. You just kind of consume you, right? Same kind of thing like that. It's like anything else. So I would I would live your life.
You can't compare paranormal experiences to drinking a beer.
Well, yes, you can.
Here we go. How can I?
The only difference is how common it is. Both those things, anything you do in life is the experience that you have. The more rare it is, the more you celebrate it. So I have experiences like that almost every day of my life. My friends go, how'd you know that? That's impossible. You did it again. Oh my gosh. So for me, it's no big deal what they're even thinking and what happens down around the corner. What? It's not a big deal. It's like breathing air. But for you, it's not because you haven't done it your whole life. I don't know if I trust this or not. The first time you get in a bicycle, you're scared to death. The training wheels are off. They're pushing. I'm not ready yet. And they push you. It's a scary thing. I don't know if I like this. Is this healthy? After a while, it's fun on the bike. Like, yeah, you want your 3 speeds, 5 speeds, 10 speeds, off you go. But it's scary to start. And now you're 79. You're not a young kid anymore. And so you have to start something new at an older age. That's not normal. We should do that. We establish our likes and dislikes young.
But see, here's the thing. If I have too many beers, I throw up.
Yeah.
If I ride the bike like Buddy would ride a bike, I fall. I hurt myself.
Yes.
Buddy's not good on bikes. Buddy can't skate, can't ride bikes. What else is Buddy won't do? No juggling. Anyways, my point is, you do those things. I know the results. Worst case scenario, somewhat. I do the paranormal thing. I don't know the worst case scenario.
I will tell you what it is.
People tell some really scary shit.
I will tell you the worst case scenario is losing your touch on reality, not being able to tell between a natural sound and a sound made by some ghost, not discerning between real and unreal, and losing your perception. That's the worst case scenario.
Okay, so how is that comparable to throwing up or the other thing? Like, that's much worse.
Well, yes and no, because the physical sensation of throwing up means your body's sick. Mm-hmm. The concept of being ill in your head means your mind is ill or not doing well. But both can be treated. Now, Italian men don't go to therapists. Italian men don't tell their girlfriends about it. But most people, if they have, will tell, it happened to me last night. This happened last. Really? What do you think that means? And most of us put in a box. You go to the bar, you throw up. I'm done drinking for a couple of weeks. That's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this again. Because I wasted $40. I got sick in the porcelain throne. I'm not doing that. I'm done with this nonsense until next month. Same thing with the ghost stuff. I'm not going back in that place again. I got to go back. Running a marathon. This marathon was horrible. I'll try next year.
The beer will never follow me home.
That's not true. When I was in college, we always followed the people home. Like, dude, are you all right? Why is it green?
I'm just saying, though. You know what I mean? Like,
come out both ends. Come out both ends, dude.
Man, I drank wild turkey at URI one night, and the next day I vomited until 4 p.m. until I finally could get the Subways to eat a meatball sandwich, which you would think is the worst thing for vomiting all day. So I've had the worst of that. But the next day, there wasn't a demon scratching me down the back in the shower because I drank too much.
That's not too common, though. It's not too common.
What's not too common?
Having demons scratch your back. It's not a common thing. You know, it's just not a common thing.
No.
It's like a blind date. You were in a blind date and fall in love or get raped. You know what I'm saying? So anything we do, there's a chance of something going right or wrong.
Wow.
That's why life works, right? You're always rolling the dice. And you try to put yourself into scenarios where it lowers your risk, correct? We try to lower our risk to be safe, to keep our job, to not make a fool of ourselves. The paranormal is the same thing. But it's harder because you can't hear as good or see as good as you normally can because there's that veil around you. That makes it interesting to people.
Do you believe that you were attacked by a demon in the shower? Do you believe it was a demon, Chris? Or do you think it was just
I do not. When I was a teenager, I thought it was a demon. Yes, I didn't know anything about anything. This thing is evil. Looking back over the years, I realized it was trying to tell me who it was. I didn't get it. And I think it was desperation. You're sending me away, but I need you here. You can hear me and see me. It's been so long. Please don't do this. Even if you have a pet dog you love, part of the family, a pet cat, if they get hurt, they will nip at you or scratch at you if you go to touch them. When people are desperate, they strike out. Listen, the worst things people ever said to me are people close to me. They never hurt you. What to say? You're just like this person. Ow. The people who you love hurt you the most. That's how it goes. So when someone's inside of you, it can hurt a lot, you know. And but I don't think that looking back, it was a demon. I think it was a soul who somehow I could hear and see, and it knew that, and it wanted to ask me questions. It wanted my help, and I didn't know what that meant. Want my help? And at the end, I figured it out. It needed to talk to someone and say what happened and to get it out there. It was tortured by the guilt of it all.
You know what? I'm gonna go back and get the clip where you described the blind date. You said, you could either have a good time or get raped.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I believe there's a lot of things that could happen in between good time and rape.
Yes, I agree.
Like there's a bad time. There's he was a douchebag.
But that's my point. Being attacked by things in the shower is very rare, like a rape, but still a horrible thing. There's that 2% chance something goes wrong, but you take the chance because you want to find love, you want to find happiness, have a good time. So we go for it.
Touche, buddy. Why can't you talk like that?
I don't know, Mike. He's got eloquence.
Just say stuff like that's logical, and we'll be good.
That's logical, Mike.
Thank you, buddy. So, Chris, Spirit's trying to reach out to you. So basically, what we're saying is that they just want to be heard. In other words, maybe he was scared. He didn't know where he was, who he was, what was going on, what's real, what's not real, and why you wouldn't answer him. I can understand why that would be frustrating because I've seen the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze, and he got very frustrated. Which, by the way, Chris, if you want to talk about hair, you're getting close to Patrick Swayze here, and that's a good thing, my friend. Dirty
Roadhouse.
Dancing, Roadhouse, you are going
She's
to
like the wind.
money. No one puts Buddy in the corner. All right. So, Chris, all right. I really worry though about the attacks and how you handle them, and because it still freaked me out. So, I would have thought, I'm getting attacked, because you know what, when you're in the forest, like you said, you don't see everything. When you're in the trees walking around, you don't see the whole top of it. You don't see what you're looking at. But in the moment, panic has to set in. Something attacks me. How did you stay? Who saw the cuts? How did you still stay that night after getting cut?
Yeah, well, when I was attacked, what did I do? I fought right away because I'm not going to think must be a ghost. I feel that the wound in my back, I mean, pushing against the wall, it's a person. I'm going back to reality and I'm punch the guy in the face. Like if I break my hand doing it, I'm going to punch him as far as I get in the face. You're not touching me. And then when I hit the shower curtain and nothing's there, I'm like, what the hell? Then I'm put back into, what's this mean? And I looked in the mirror. It wasn't a knife. It was these scratches. And that was scary as all hell. I felt sad because I saw this naked kid bleeding in the mirror thinking he's in trouble. In every movie I've seen, he dies now. Now he dies. I thought, I don't want to die. That sucks. I'm so young. I'm not a bad dude. I didn't. Oh, well, what are you going to do? You know, I thought about all the Holocaust and all the millions of Jews piled up naked on the yard, just rotting away. I'm thinking they probably prayed to God too. And there they are. So what right do I have to say anything about this? So I just said, well, I can't do this anymore. I can't.
Let me ask you this. You're starting to say stuff that reminds you of myself. How far in your head did you get? Because it sounds like you would beat yourself up deep in your head.
I thought I was dying. So I'm trying to think, okay, big picture. What does that mean, big picture? Forget about me. What about life, death, afterlife? Is there God, forgiveness? Do things fit together? I'm searching for a thing to hold on to, a piece of wood in the ocean to hold on to float, get my mind back together again. Give me something. And I can't. So first I'm trying to go to God. God will save me. No, he won't. God's not going to. That's how God operates. I've seen it before. I've learned that he doesn't operate that way. Because people die sometimes. People get cancer. So I can't rely on him. It's up to me now. If I was created in his image, if my parents may be smart and educated me, it's up to me to pull myself through this. It's on me. I can't blame somebody else. I can't say, it's not fair. Too bad. It's happening. Deal with it. And that's how I had to be. And, you know, and I tell people, and this is not just hearsay. My grandfather fought in World War II and got malaria. His best buddy got blown up when the Japanese strafed the island. They found his arm. That's it. And my uncle fought in Vietnam and got shot twice and still came back. There's no way in hell I'm going to go home and saying, there's a scary ghost in my room. Not happening. My family believed in me. Back in those days, you didn't get a loan you couldn't pay back. You went to college. That was an amazing thing. That was an opportunity.
You were like one of the first. Yeah.
My grandparents carried boxes in warehouses, mixed paint and stuff. I was the one going to put something good with the name, you know, and I couldn't just leave. I couldn't just run away. I wanted to leave every single day. But every day I said to myself, there must be a reason this is happening. Stay longer, stay longer. But my friends helped me do that.
See, that's where I think you connect with people more than you think. That internal struggle is something a lot of people go through on smaller things. Obviously, yours was on a gigantic scale. But getting in your own head, sometimes there is no worse place to be. I always say to people, the worst place for me is in my own head. Like when I'm doing good for someone else, I always feel better, right? Because it's not on me. When I'm dealing with my kids, I feel good because I'm providing for them. When I get in my own head, and if I go too far into my own head, which God only knows how far you went into your head dealing with what you're dealing with, there's not doors that are good. You're going to places that it just makes things more difficult.
The worst places. Because you talked about nice head of hair before. Let's suppose someone gets a haircut. You get a haircut, and 5 guys go, hey, nice haircut. If one person goes, oh, what'd you do? Oh, my God. You're like, what's the matter? That one negative comment will eat you up if you get to the 5. Our minds are made to problem solve to fix things that are wrong. But you can't fix yourself by thinking about that. And so there's a process of, I can't get in this head right now because I'm going around and around. And I just got to get out of there, do something else, think about something else. But in that moment, I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything but be in my head. And I finished my memoir. I just finished it. It went to publishers yesterday, actually. And I talked about that moment, about what my thoughts were. That'll come out sometime in the spring when the Netflix miniseries comes out. It's with that, related to that, you know.
Yeah, so, you didn't have any Italian roommates, huh? No Italian guys in your dorm?
No. There's an Anderson, assistant.
No. I'm just saying that because
Chris,
I'm just trying to get a role on the show because I just want to come out of the room and be like, "Oh, guy, what happened?" And that's it. You cut away from me. I could just do that. I'd be like, "Is that a ghost?"
I would love that. I would have loved that. Believe me.
Guy, is that a ghost?
I was the only one, and I didn't look Italian, so we're over 10 on that one.
I'm sorry, but listen, you do connect with people on a lot of levels, man. If you really break it down, like when you go back through the story, if they really pay attention what you went through, it's not just a story about the ghosts. I'll be honest, when I went back and watched the first show, it's not the ghost that impressed me. It was your dad driving up right away with the gun, with everything loaded. I've had a situation recently with my daughter, and I had to square away something with someone, and I just had a coming to God moment with them so that he would stay away. And it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
No, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, you're Italian
I
dad.
know.
It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. So I respect that. I respect that the fact that your friend stayed. I respect the fact that you dealt with it mentally. What damage long term, though, did that do to you, being able to go
Yeah.
so far into your own head? Because I spent
Yes.
11 days in a hospital once for my stomach surgeries. By that 10th day, I was like, I got to come home because I'm really losing my mind. Like, I'm so far in my own head from being alone, isolated, like just thinking to myself, that it's not good. Like, if a clown walked in, anything, Chuck E. Cheese, I'm happy. Get me out of this place. So you must have been so far in, that you touch things that you can't untouch, I would think.
Yeah, and those kind of situations, any kind of trauma, could be a car accident, anything, could be losing a relative. You don't ever fully heal from those things. There's always a piece of that in your mind and in your back of your head because it influences who you are as a person. I joke around. It's been what, 35, 30, 36 years. I still cannot sleep in a room by myself in the dark. I still cannot do it. If my wife goes away to visit sister or something like that, the house is empty, I'll go on the chair in the living room, put a blanket over my head, and sleep with the TV on, so I don't have to hear things. You wouldn't know that unless I told you that. But by the same token, even though I was so traumatized by that, I honestly thought I was going to die. I honestly thought it was the end. And the fact that it wasn't the end, I appreciate every single day of my life. And so people connect with me. You know why? Because I connect with them. I let them know that I like talking with you. I like that you talk to me. I like hearing your ideas. I like the shirt you're wearing. I like the ideas you have. I like this right now. Talking with you and Buddy, Mike and Buddy, this is an opportunity for me to share. And I like you both. You are my friends. I didn't have to know you at all, but now I do. It's an opportunity to share and to communicate. It's a moment I won't forget. It's an experience now, and I bring that with me. So in spite of the horrible traumas I suffered, it allows me to make friends, to share ideas, and to be thankful I'm still here every day. So you're asking me questions. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means you care. You care about the story, but more about me. And from lying on the floor, butt-ass naked, bleeding, shaking in one spot, thinking I'm dead, to this, what a blessing that is. What a blessing that is.
Yeah. Sorry. The things with me in the paranormal world have been increasing. So here's a story I don't think I've told. When my dad passed in 2007, for some reason it was like a week before the funeral, which Italians usually do it quick.
Yeah.
My mom wanted to have it on a Friday, Saturday. I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened. But so we had to wait, me and my two brothers. Now, I go in the other room to get a drink. It's one of these bars that's got like the back banquet, Italian places, back banquet room,
Yes,
the bar.
yes.
I'm in the bar getting drinks, and my wife yells, "Mike, hurry up! Somebody fell." And I'm like, "All right." I'm thinking one of the old aunts. I'm like, "Oh my God!" Right? I go running into the back room, and it's my younger brother, and he's on the ground. His face is blue, and there's blood coming out of his mouth.
Boy.
Now, my older brother is terrified. He's just he lost it. He was just kind of running around.
Right.
The moment I walk in the room, my mom starts screaming and continues to scream the entire time. Mike, don't let him die. I pushed everybody away from him. I had the help of Phillips and this kid Bibby, who's a cop in my local town. We realized it was a seizure, got him on his side. But like there were like people like literally like Chris Sparling, the person who wrote Buried, ATM, Sea of Trees, all this stuff, Intrusion on Netflix. I shoved him so hard. I like a football player. I blew him right out of the spot because I had to get to my brother.
Yeah.
Rode on the ambulance. The driver says, "I know you, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, last week you were the driver that took my dad when he passed." That is something that like I had hidden for a long time, but with all this stuff coming up, that has been something that. Why would she? Here's the thing. Why would she do that? Like, why would she put that pressure on me when I have no control? No control of whether someone dies. Do you understand that? I'm asking you because you kind of know more than I do, and I'm asking you why.
I guess I want to answer it first a roundabout and then directly.
Yep.
When somebody tells you they love you, the worst thing to ask them is, why do you love me? So I think, yeah, why do I love you? If someone says they love you, appreciate it and accept that love. There's something about you, how you act, how you think, how you look, whatever, that they appreciate. Enjoy that moment. Your mom revealed something very interesting in that moment. She trusted you. She trusted you to save the day. She, for whatever reason it is, only she can tell you that. She viewed you as the answer, capital A, and you were the answer. And so it's a scary thing. It's a horrible thing. But if you think about it, it's almost like you're meant for that moment, and your mom knew it. And that's a special gift. People might say, "Oh, who cares?" No, that's amazing. And so now you don't have her in your life in the same way, but the memory is so real. You could close your eyes and see it all over again. It's right there. It exists. Your mom's words exist, and so does her love for you. And it's a beautiful thing. Look, Buddy has suffered more than I have. Buddy suffered the most possible as ever. And he's still here. He's still happy, doing things, moving forward. I don't mean to make an example, Buddy, but I haven't suffered like you've suffered yet, and I will. Eventually, I will suffer in that same way. But knock on wood, hasn't happened to me yet, you know? And so you're an example. Forget me. You're an example of moving forward through heartbreak, through unfortunate, unnecessary, ridiculous heartbreak. Why? What? On what earth does this make sense? Zero. And yet here you are. And you smile and you laugh. You help people. You talk to people. So it's not people talking about, oh, Chris the Ghost Boy. We all, Mike, with your brother, have moments where we shine. We get through things. We don't want to have to do any of this shit, but we do it because it's the right thing to do. It's who we are. We have two choices: to roll up in a ball, go to sleep, and not wake up again, or to push forward. And here we all are having this conversation because we all chose to push forward at some point in time.
Wow.
You make a lot of sense. And it was, I think it was just years of trying to go, because he had brain surgery 2 days later. So 2 days after my dad's funeral, my younger brother has brain surgery. I have to be the one that doesn't break. Now, here's the problem. I was also once at a Chinese restaurant near Lincoln Mall when two girls jumped up and yelled, "Our friend's choking." Somebody help. Nobody moves in the restaurant. I'm already at the table by the time she's done finishing the thing. Not that I'm a hero, because I'm just an idiot. But I did work with kids, basketball, sports. I understand choking. I've taken CPR classes. First I had to do was get her two friends away from her because they were just too much. They were making her nervous. And then I said, "How are you?" I asked her, "How are you feeling?" And she says, "I'm choking." I said, "Well, all right, here's a good thing. You're not choking completely because you just answered me. It means there's air coming through the waves."
That's right.
And I said, "Open your mouth." And I could see food stuck down her throat. And I put my finger in her mouth and I swept it. She went to the bathroom, threw up. And then as she's leaving, she says, "Thanks for saving my life," and leaves. The month, two later after that, an old man has a seizure at a Newport creamery right after they got hot coffee. The wife has dementia, doesn't know who she is, why she's there. No one will help the guy. Now, he's having a seizure, and you can't really contain that, but you can keep it from getting coffee on it. So I'm jumped up, and I'm holding this guy, trying to get him in the right spot, and I turn to my right, and there's two guys like the size of Buddy. And I said it with probably the most meanest intentions. I'm like, "Are you motherfucker gonna get up? Like, are you gonna get up? Like, you're gonna get up? Like, are you gonna get up?" They got up, they helped me, they put the guy down. I'm gonna bring this all back. So every time I do something like that, I'm always so dead cold in the moment. Like, I just do it, get it done. It's like when my dad would kill a spider. It's like, Dad, a spider. He comes up, done. Just move on. So problem is, though, after I do these things, I go home and then everything just comes down. And then that's when I have the break. Like after my brother's thing, after his surgery, after all said and done, and I took care, made sure everybody's all right. That's when I have my issues. But my issues I keep to myself, and they're not issues that they can help me with. So it's like, you had to have some residual, because, I mean, just the little things that I've had residual. Now, on Buddy's case, let me say this. Negative things happen for positive reasons in the long run, and I 100% believe that, right? I think everything that's happened in Buddy's life is Buddy's adventure step up or forward. This guy's got a real long adventure ahead of him. He's going to do a lot of things in the paranormal. Like, I believe this. That's why I'm partners with him. So I believe everything that's happened to Buddy in his life is happening for a reason, because he's got a whole memoir to come up with, just like you do. Which, congratulations on your memoir. But like, he's got a life that's going to be like that. I don't want a world like that. I love talking conversations. I love shows. I love hearing people's experiences, man. I just love talking to people like that. That's why I do this show. And I said this to him after Genius Kev left. I was like, I only want to do this show if we get to talk to people that I like, that are interesting, that'll talk about things other than the topic they want to present. Buddy, are you playing with a cat? Are you
No,
fishing?
Mike, I got to plug my computer in. I'm sorry. I'm a little dramatic over here.
A little dramatic. Look at you with the cord. Anyway,
wrong story.
The one-on-one connections, Chris, are what makes the paranormal worth it. For me, at least.
Yeah.
I'm not big into. I'm not a convention guy. I don't want to walk around, look at people's tables, see what they wrote, see what they did for videos. I like to talk to people one-on-one, but at the conventions, sometimes you can get too many people talking to you all at once, and then somebody like Buddy might leave for a couple hours, and you're stuck talking to everybody, which you did do to me. And you're answering
poor
questions.
baby. Yeah, you poor baby. Never happened to me before.
Dude, I was answering questions though that were like, hey, like I don't know what, like, why don't you believe in everything in the paranormal? Well, what do you mean? Why everything? Like, anytime someone blankets it like that, I have a hard time with the conversation.
Well, yeah,
I'm like,
there are too many things and alls and alls and nothings. You mentioned that you can't live in that world. You don't pick the world you live in, only what you do in it, and that's the fact. So you can pick what you want to do in the world you're given, that you live in, and you're the best of that. So most people I know will go investigating. They bring their K2 meters and things like that. Off they go, in their REM pods. I don't do that. What do you mean? You're the ghost, but you gotta investigate. No, I've seen enough. I don't. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Let people walk their own path. Why not? And if they're happy,
let me ask you this. When people tell you they hear, because this has been going on since the show started, and I'm glad that you've come back. I've had this argument a couple times, and the Johnsons actually fall into this because they take different sides.
You think Carl?
Yeah. When you hear a child's voice, one half says could be a child, one half says no, it's a demon. Now, I've been doing this 2 years. Here's where I'm at. I don't believe it's a kid. I don't. I think kids and dogs go straight to heaven. I don't think a kid should be stuck in a spot. Because then my second part of that statement is, if it is a kid and there's all these people that claim they can pass on spirits, right? Well, why don't they go to these places that advertise the fact that there's children's voices in this, like say a children's hospital, something like that, and just pass every kid on? Why would that not be the greatest thing you could do in your life, but to help pass on a child?
I'm afraid to answer your question.
No, go ahead.
I don't know that if what you believe or I believe or Buddy believes is the truth. I just know it's how we view things. And so when you say I don't believe a child would suffer like that, I hope not too. But I can't prove that. I know what I want to believe and things that I've seen. The things that I've seen are much like we have now. I've interacted with spirits who are friendly, spirits who are angry, spirits who are loud. It's almost like a retained part of who we are. And I think when there's a confusion in death, it lends itself to a confusion in life, confusion in death. That kind of goes hand in hand. I remember seeing 4 or 5 young children, ghosts, out in the back. I was helping them move into their house and was going to the attic, and I saw a bunch of these young girls playing outside in dresses. I'm like, what are they doing out there? They're gonna get hurt. They're going too fast. He goes, no, there. I'm like, there's some girls playing Ring on the Rosie. No, there's not. I'm like, the girls are playing Ring on the Rosie right there. And then all of a sudden, they were gone. I'm like, whoa. So I hope that they have found some rest, but I don't know if it's like we think it is. I really don't. I mean, I don't know if I want to find rest. I might want to watch my granddaughter and see how she does. I might want to tell people what it's like over here. I don't know if we choose or don't choose. I wish I knew, Mike. I don't know how that works. I don't think it's as cut and dry as we want it to be. Nothing really.
But all right, to play to say in a place that's familiar. Blah blah blah. Sorry, I don't mean blah blah blah. I'm trying to get the point. if you knew there was a kid spirit there and you were somebody who could pass on spirits, you would go there to help them. And she said that you can't pass on unless it wants to. It's a kid. You need to help it get through. I think the exploitation of ghost spirits that are kids is a little ridiculous to me, because if you think you can pass stuff people on, then you would do it. And then if you can't do it, I just don't like it. Listen to me. No kid, right? No kid should have to burn down in a house and then be forever trapped in that house.
Disagree with you. I was a CPS worker, caseworker for DSS for about 4.5 years. And on occasion, I take the kid from their parents. The kids are being molested sexually by the dad or the uncle. Kids are being abused, touching their arms. Like, no, my mom, my dad. Oh, they hated me. They punched me. No, you take me. I hate you. I hate you. But I saved them from either being molested or injected with HIV. Kids don't always, as you're saying, know right for wrong. It's true. But when you're living, you can hold them and hug them and help them read. When they're over there, it's hard to communicate with them. They don't want to hear these go away. Be very careful, because if you push too hard to push that kid across to the other side, as they say, they might get angry and resent it and start lashing out and get more negative. They might want to stay, saying you have to be very careful. I think that free will is important. I've almost lost free will in the heart. People think I was crazy and things. I wasn't. So they would try to control my behavior. So, no, you're doing that. No, I'm not doing that. So I think the best thing to do in that scenario is to have a conversation and say, listen, I want to tell you some things, and then let me know how you feel. When I was a caseworker, there's a young girl who had a brain tumor, and she was dying. She was 4 years old. She wanted to go to Disney World. I arranged Make-A-Wish Foundation got her a trip, but she's too sick to travel, so she couldn't go. Her mom couldn't take care of her. She was at the age of 2 months sexually molested by mom's boyfriend, taken out of the house. At the very end, she says, can I go back with mom, please? Can I die with mom? So the mom put her back in the trailer. She blew the sink faucet away, put a cardboard down, had the little girl look at the window by the sink in this little trailer. So I went to visit her. And I remember she said to me beforehand that she says, the doctor says I'm going to go to sleep and not wake up. Is that true? I said, well, that's called dying. What happens then? And as a state caseworker, you can't give your religious opinion. It's against the law. And so I said, let me talk to your grandma about that and find out. But I had 25 cases. I never got back to her. So I'm going to see her. And she goes, she won't look at me. She's facing the window. She's all gray. Her hair is off her from chemotherapy. And she goes, I'm angry at you. I'm like, why? She goes, you didn't tell me what happens when we go to sleep. I said, you're right. And I'm sorry. I got so busy. That's my fault. I didn't realize that's all she thought about. That's all she had to think about me while I'm doing things. And she thought I didn't care. I said, I love you very much. I will never lie to you. Look at me. She goes, no, I'm ugly. I won't look at you. I said, turn around. I love you. You're not ugly. She looked at my face. I said, listen, I don't know what will happen. I know what I think will happen, but let's make a promise, you and me, right now. What do you mean? Well, pinky swear. Pinky swear? If you wake up, you find yourself in a good place, go by the window and look at the flowers and the butterflies. One day, if you see me there, I might be old, who knows? You say, Chris, and you and I will sit by the window and hold hands. What do you think? Deal? Deal. Pinky promise? Pinky promise. We pinky promised. And she died that night. The mom said to me, what'd you say to her? She's so happy. I thought I loved her. I'd be there for her. That's all you have to do yourself. And that made her happy, knowing that if there's something else, and if that happens, I'll sit by the window with her. I hope that happens for her. Can I verify it? No. So I'm not trying to criticize anything you're saying, Mike. I agree with you fundamentally on what you believe. That's what should happen. I just don't know it does. I hope so. I don't know how much different it is.
It's okay, buddy. I'm sorry.
Not for nothing, Mike. I mean, who's to say that these children who died haven't already crossed over to the other side and just decided to come back and be in that location anyway? For example, Chris mentioned my stroke. Chris mentioned my wife. My wife died 3.5 years ago. And there have been, not just myself, I've received like multitudes of signs. I'll ask her for signs. I'll say, hey, look, I'm struggling with this. I need help with this. I need help with this piece in my life. And I'll get a sign. Friends of hers will get signs. Friends of hers will get, like, her face will show up on their cell phone. It happened to her friend Erin. She turned her phone on three random times. One of them was Christmas Day. The other was in February. And the third time was a day last week. She turned on her phone and Heather's face happened to be on her phone. That same week, it happened twice. Her other friend Missy texted me. She was sitting there waiting for her daughter. Her daughter was in gymnastics. She was in her car, and she got a message on her car, and it said, message from Heather. Now, she's like, I looked through my phone. I looked for any other contacts named Heather. I never deleted her number, and she's still the only Heather contact on my cell phone. And then it happened again 3 days later with Heather, a message from Heather. It was on her in her car and there was nothing on her phone. It just happened to show up on her car. So, like, people that pass over just because they're haunting you, just because they're talking to you, or they're in a specific location, I don't think that means that they haven't crossed over. I think they can decide to come back and visit and check in on us or hang out in a specific area.
I'm with you, dude. But wait, we're talking about kids dying at places. There's no
I think
way.
kids are. You can.
They don't want to come back to that place. Come on, the kids don't want to come back to where they died.
If they're looking for their mom, they might. The last time their mom was right there, they're looking for their mom. If they're confused,
they return to the scene of
mom here.
Here's what's messed up. I know that you guys both worked in paranormal like 700 million times more than I have, right? And I'm just telling you that for some God's honest reason, over these last 2 years, I almost feel like I know. Like, have you ever had something happen to you where you feel it first in here and then it goes up and you're like, I can argue this or I can write this out to somebody, but it doesn't really matter because I kind of know. Like, in other words, I get into a lot of trouble with people because they'll say something like that I did, and I won't give another narrative because I don't waste time. I'll let them just go on. But then they create a narrative, and next thing I know, Mike went bowling. It's like, what? Yeah. I should have just stopped it when I did. You know what I mean? But with this thing, so here's my thing, and this is what's been this is what, when I go deep inside my head, what's been going on. I feel like everything's positive, negative. I've been saying that for a while. I feel like where something really bad happens, something really good can come from it. And then where something really good is and gets killed in a bad way, I think something really bad can take its place. I think it's just a switch sometimes. I think it's just the 50-50. Everything's kind of good. You can't cut anything too thin where there's only one side. So I feel like when there's a horrific accident to a child that's pure, that's the perfect time for something evil to be born. It's the exact opposite of real innocent dying. That's the one spot where I could see evil being born into the world. That's the things that I feel like are in me, that I constantly think that this show has made me either crazy or it's got me thinking in a whole different way. Because I'm telling you, I feel like there's a lot of positive, negative stuff. There's a pull and give to everything. And where you open a door for something good, something negative can be. That make any sense, Chris?
I can't speak to the state of your mind. I mean, that's where you are, and that's fair. And it would be wrong to be there to try to convince you otherwise, and that's not my role, and you might be right. All I can say to you is that, like I said, I've noticed that there's a lot of gray in many areas of life, like gray.
And, she just wrote, there's positive, negative, shades of gray.
Yeah, and I think that's the literal truth. And so, well, I will emphasize, I want to agree with you. I want nothing more to say you're right, that's the way it should be. My experience suggests it might not always be that way. So then what? So then what do we do? What do you do? That's
fine. You know, I'm fine with that. I'm one of those guys that, like, you don't have to agree with me.
No, what do you do if that child then wants to stay by the well where she fell in, looking for her mom? What if her mom didn't find peace and she's still there too? What if her and her mom are living in the shadow realm together, not moving on? That's a possibility too. And then that's a relationship like you would have on this side of the veil. So in that case,
mom's fault.
It's no one's fault. It's a situation. So how do we get them to a better place? In other words, some people have in their family alcoholism.
Yep. All right.
So so you can have a drink, you're fine. Somebody can't have a drink, they have a couple, they're off the deep end. That's it.
Yep.
It's not their fault. They're not evil or bad for taking the drink. They didn't know. Maybe it wasn't going to be them, And so sometimes people find themselves in a place where they shouldn't be. In this case, you have to be very careful with emotions. You can talk about theory all you want, but people's emotions or beliefs, it's very tight. And if you survived in a spiritual form, believe what you believe, it got me this far, I'm not going to change. It's sometimes hard to change something's mind about going someplace else. And all I'm saying is it takes time. You would need to spend a few days there maybe and try to conversations and try to explain why it would be important for each other. And just tell them, listen, I'm being honest with you. You sense my heart. I'm not making money off of you. I'm not putting you on Facebook. I'm just here for you to help you out. And I think that's fair. If you think you do it.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate crusade then?
Well, I think
in the paranormal world.
I think I might have saved that ghost soul in college. by chance, by luck, by grace of God, I think I might have saved that thing so I had it find rest. So I know what you're talking about, and that's what I did. But for me, it almost killed me. And so I'm very aware of what happens where if someone's in the lake and they're drowning, if you can't swim, you both go down or you try to pull them out anyway. It's a personal choice. Most people don't think like you think. They think, oh, there's a child here. Let's make money off of that. Let's put it on Facebook, EVP, we'll be famous. That's sad. That shows their character. You don't do that. You wouldn't do that. And now you have a choice. You can go find these people if you want, these young kids, and try to help them or not. But it's inside of you as a thought, and I would develop that thought.
I be honest with you, it's something that's bugged me now for a while,
Yeah.
months, and it's like because I keep hearing stories. Like I worked at the boys' club for so long. I've coached athletics with kids for so long. Like I've talked to kids on long drives to AAU games and heard about their life situation and understood things, and like they just need
Yep.
guidance. Period.
But-
So they need it in depth too. They don't know where dude. Here's the thing. I just think like dogs and kids have such a purity to them that like if something bad happens to them,
Oh, yes. But that's emotional more than logical. For example, suppose a 25-year-old man goes to a bar.
Yep.
He gets hammered. There's a girl who hooks up with. She says
Yep.
he's 19.
they don't do that anymore.
She's 16.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
He
oh,
goes to
right.
jail because he had sex with a minor. He gets reported. So the rest of his life, because he was drunk and she was drunk, he's a pedophile. Put every place you go at the post where you live. You can murder someone, take him out, and be out in 6 years. But that was a kid. That's different. We, in our minds, emotionally, we hold little innocent people, innocents, children, babies, animals above. Like, for example, if a priest molests you, it's worse than uncle molesting. He's a priest, you should know better. We put these filters on our lives where we think you're supposed to be. That has to be worse, but doesn't mean they are that way. It's just we want to believe that because it makes more sense to us. It's a more logical world. I feel better about myself and people around me. But the truth of the matter is the priest and the uncle are doing the same exact thing. Should one know better? Yes, but the act is the same. So we'll put in the paper about this priest across the whole country of every show, but Uncle John gets off the hook. No one talks about him. It's the same thing. But sometimes our mindset, our societal mindset, blinders, they've got to believe this way. You don't have to. And I do feel bad, like you're saying about the ghosts and spirits and things like that. If a child ghost ever asked me, or any spirit ever asked me to help, I always would. Always. Like you're saying, the person's choking or things like that, a person goes for help. If I see suffering, I always help. But I'm not going to inject myself in a situation because I think I might know better.
My thing is this: I think people are more attracted to the evil side of things.
Definitely.
And I don't think people believe in the good
sells.
anymore.
Who-
I think
like,
people have given up on good.
Who wants to watch a TV show, but a ghost that says, "Hey, how are you?" I want action. I want excitement. I want people knocked over. Everything's flying around the place. I want a real entertainment on this.
Fear cells.
We've gone from people trying to contact their relatives or people looking at scientific things to pure entertainment. It's almost entertainment now, and people think it's funny. And you know what's funny? It happens to you. We all the time see James Bond movies, all the Bourne movies and things like that. Shot, guns everywhere. That's so cool to be getting shot at. It's not cool anymore. In other words, we divorce ourselves from reality. We watch all these fictions and we think it's so cool, but it's not cool. It's not.
No.
You know, when I watch a TV show about someone getting molested, I'm like, I worked with 5 kids that happened to them. I'm like, that's not a cool show. I'm like, I can't watch this. I'm sorry. I can't live this again. I just saw this. I saw that in real life. Just change the name of the face. So, but we live, thankfully, for most of us, in bliss and ignorance. We have a supermarket, or we have to go around food. We don't have to take care of our own safety. We have police officers, fire departments. We have grocery stores, internet. We're so lucky. We don't realize that it's a very dangerous world if we let go, and we're starting to lose our connections now. We don't go. We used to go bowling. They used to go to darts. They used to go picnics. They used to go Kiwanis Club. Gone. It's all chat rooms now.
Here's my plea for church. I didn't like to go to church when I was a kid. They were trying to raise me Catholic. I made my confirmation, all that other thing. But church was a time where the town got together. The community got together.
Yes.
It made it at the point where I was a kid where you could just walk around the neighborhood, and then every night, like the parents would be having pastries, enamins at someone else's house,
Yep.
and you go hang out.
Yep.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
They don't come out of their house. You invite people to something. dude, let me explain something. So that day I was having a total crisis. I invited about 4 or 5 people to come over for my birthday. They all confirmed, all canceled. Now, I get it, right? I get it. You know, things are how they are. But I don't think people understand like what that does to somebody sometimes. Like, in other words, like if someone's asking you to hang out, there's a reason. There really is a reason. They shouldn't have to tell you the reason. So I don't know. I've been struggling with. I feel like people don't want to believe in good, and I am the last person I feel like that people would think would represent good, right? You know what I mean? Like I keep talking about good, and I look the way that I do, and it's almost like when The Rock comes in Black Adam. He's like, "You wanted a superhero, but you got me." You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's what it is. So I keep talking about the positive, and I wish people would talk more positively. I would love to hear positive paranormal stories to try to help kids or do something like that. But man, they want to be scared.
Well, again, you cannot, you have no right to control what people think. All you can do is influence it by leading by example. So I tell my students, I teach at a school for special education. Most of the kids have one or no parents. Most of them are 5 levels behind in their grades. Most of them have been homeless or all these things happen to them. I tell them, listen, it's tough out there, but it's your life. Every day you write the book of your life, page by page. If page 2 is bad, make page 3 better. Learn from page 2 the mistakes you made. Or stay on page 2 your whole life. It's your choice. I can't make you learn. I can inspire you to want to learn. If you want to learn, I can teach you. And so one of the things I've learned as I'm older now, I'm not actually 79, but I'm getting close to 60, is that the best way to make a change is to act the way you want people to act around you. And people will respond to that. Treat them well. Because words are nice, actions are better. So if you'd like to make a call for action to help out these spirits, do it. Yourself, get somebody you trust to go and just start doing those things. And people say, that's pretty cool. I never thought about that. I never saw on TV before. And you become the change that you wanted to be. I had a short-lived podcast, less than a year, BB3 TV with Dom and Tom. I was a guest on their show last January. And I found out there were just nice people. They did charity work. They cleaned grave sites. They're just such nice people. I wanted to support them. So I agreed to do a show weekly for about 10 months to help them get some people in, get some quality guests, because I believed in what they were doing. And I hope I helped that network by doing that. That's why I did it, because I felt someone's got to say to them, thank you. Not just entertain me or do something for me, but thank you. And so I gave back to them for the while I could. And so, and again, I am being totally honest with you and totally transparent. I think that maybe you should consider doing something like that when you're ready. When the time is right, you'll know. And then you'll do 2 things. You'll be acting on your words and hopefully, knock on wood, inspiring others to do what you do. There was a guy in California. He found some rocks on the beach. He put eyeballs on them and some hair in his face. Remember those stupid rocks?
Yeah.
He made $1
He did.
That's a good idea. So sometimes it takes one person to have an idea and say, let's do this. And then people say, I will. So maybe you can do something like that. Maybe that's your calling. Maybe it's not. That's a cool thing. Or maybe someone listening to the show tonight will want to do that. Maybe that's how you do something like that, you know, because people shouldn't feel guilty for not doing it. They're trying to pay their bills and raise their kids and treat their cancer, all these things, right?
Yeah.
But on the same token, it'd be nice, though, to have someone being an advocate for spirits, lost spirits, children, instead of making money off of them, maybe helping them find rest, whatever that means.
So, all right, 2 things. One, this is Tom's World wrote, you have helped BB3 TV greatly, my brother.
Thank you.
What is BB3 TV? Is that his
It's a great station. They're based, I think, out of Florida, and they have a podcast. They're on YouTube, they're on Facebook, and they have shows every night of the week. It's a real nice place here, and they're like family for me. It's not old. It's not a year and a half old, but they've really grown nice, and I'm proud of them.
That is exactly where we're going with Legit Paranormal. We're adding shows because there's people that we've become friends with that want to do shows.
Yeah.
But what my big goal was, I want to have a network of not amateur, but starting up or whatever ghost hunting teams, ghost investigating teams from different states. Because I want to be able to do like a show where we discuss different clips, how they do differently things differently, different states. I want to know all the differences, right? But when I start this, I'm going to make it clear to everybody. When it comes to like a child thing, if there's anything you can do to help the kid, you're going to do that first. That's where we're going to come. So, Chris, I'm like an evil scientist. I have a million things in the works. So does Buddy. It's just more beverage.
Beer related.
So,
yeah.
I got to be honest. If I ever start a crusade and do this, which I'm going to do, and get people together and try to gather that information, I might lean on you to help me out with the message of do what's right. That's literally all I need the help with, because I literally need someone else to say, just do what's right. Like they asked me, like, what do you expect? And I'm like, look, whatever you do on your investigations, do what's right. Be respectful.
Yeah.
Do what's right. I don't want any video of people like pissing on a grave or shit like that.
I know.
Do what's right. Can you
that.
just do that? Can you do that? That's all I'm asking you.
I closed every show I did with the following: if it's true and it helps someone, say it. And so, yes, I will help you say it.
Yeah, she just wrote there's a severe need for advocates, and that's true. It really is, because again, you don't want to ever get latched onto something that you might think other people will. Well, all right, most people do not want to get latched onto something or someone they think other people will think is crazy, even if it's just like a theory.
Yeah.
So they're hesitant, right? But then there's sometimes when you know that what someone's saying is true, or they have their heart in the right place. Like I have friends, they have their heart in the right place, and I'll go along with them even if I know it's going to be a bad ride. Does that make sense? Like I don't give a shit. Like if you're my friend and you have a bad idea, but you really believe in this, dude, I'm going to go down with you. Like I remember being in the band, being on stage, and someone would be like, let's do this. And I'm like, oh, that's not going to go good.
Fine.
Let's do this. And I was like, let's do it. And then when it didn't go good, I would try my best to make it come back to being good. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
Buddy, what else do you got for questions for Chris?
Oh, all right. So last time we touched a little bit upon like your experiences of the haunt, but your experiences like after the haunt, like how this spirit was somehow related. Was it through synchronicity? Was it through like weird coincidence? How it ended up haunting you in particular, and the history behind you and say the spirit. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I actually think the information that we found out in the past 29 years is more interesting than the ghost experience itself. Like I mentioned earlier in your show, at the beginning we thought maybe it was a demon, maybe it was some kind of maybe a kid who killed himself there was in trouble. When I talked to the ghost for the very last time, I asked it some questions, and one of the things I asked it was, this is Jeff's doing. Jeff prepped me for this weeks in advance if it ever happened. And I said, where are you from? And he said one word. He said, Danville. And now Dansville with an S is not too far from Geneseo. So I figured, it's a college kid. Probably a local boy came here to stress hung himself. That's what I thought for decades. And then my mom retired from her job, was doing some genealogy. Strange how these things happen. And she says, we on my side, Chris, the Hubley side, we had people who fought in the Civil War for the North, Revolutionary War for the Patriots. Isn't that cool? I'm like, that's cool, Mom. Thanks. Have a good night. Then a month later, she goes back. What's interesting is that my 7 times great removed uncle and grandpa, Adam and Ronald Hubley, found some body by your college. Like, what? Yeah. In 1779, they found this guy named Thomas something. Thomas Boyd was killed in a tree by your college. I'm like, what? They found his body. They buried his body. I'm like, no way. Where he's from? Where? Danville, Pennsylvania. Like, Danville? So this is like 2014. Almost 30 years after the haunting happened. So ding, ding, ding. Then it came to Thomas, the tree, the neck, Danville. So he was telling me, this thing was telling me who he was. He showed me who he was, but I didn't know what to make of it. I misunderstood the clue. I thought, Dansville. I must have heard him wrong. It's right down there. So I wasn't being foolish. My knowledge base was small. The best I could do with a knowledge base. As my knowledge base grew, I knew about how to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. You can't do like engineering with just additional subtractive to angles and things, right? And so over time, and so I always caution people, please be careful about assuming you know what's happening right away. That happens in a relationship sometimes too soon. Oh, but I thought I tried to warn you, right? It can happen in your job too soon. So people get a new job. I'm changing everything, starting from scratch. No. It works right now. Don't change everything. Make adjustments, just prove yourself as a manager. Same thing. And so I think sometimes in the paranormal, We have to prove it's Abraham Lincoln and all he talks to me and I'm so wonderful. Don't make it about you. Make it about the people you're working with, the history of the place. And this way you're not putting your own thoughts on top of what's happening. There's a psychic medium I know very well. Her name is April Bissett, New Jersey. She does these readings. As she does these readings, she'll draw up on her paper. This way her active mind is not being influenced with the word. No, it's not her thoughts, it's thoughts coming through. She's I'm busy as she hears the thoughts coming from the spirit. Cool technique. Tries to make sure that it's not her own thoughts coming through. Her active mind's being, occupied by drawing in the paper as she hears the thoughts come through. Cool technique. I like that idea. Because sometimes it's hard to separate your own ideas with what you're hearing or you think you're hearing in your head.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, so, dude, if you're from our age bracket, anytime anyone says the word assume, and you played any kind of sports,
Yes.
the first thing they tell you is like, don't make an ass out of you and me.
Out of me.
That poor word. Yeah, but all right. So, all right, assume got ruined for that, and then there's no I in team, right?
Yeah.
And Kobe Bryant said, "Yeah, but there's a me in there, mother." And then Michael Jordan said, "Yeah, but there's an I in win." So I agree with you, but like, what I'm trying to say is, I don't think where I'm coming from is probably the Sarah goes. Sarah writes the whole time. She's one of the most intelligent people I've ever read, right?
Yeah.
But then she says stuff like, I still don't know sports. And it's like, we don't expect it to catch up. I don't know how she's going to catch up. But like, well, I guess what I'm saying is this. I don't feel like I'm coming from a bad place with this. I feel like where I'm coming from, it's like I look around and I wonder why other people don't have the same thoughts that I have when it comes to that part of stuff. Just the kid stuff. I really don't understand like how they get all excited that they heard a kid's voice. It's like, I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Like what? Like what?
Mike, can I just like throw in a little tip about kids' voices?
Yes.
I was on Block Island. I was at the Hygeia House, which is a bed and breakfast, and it's connected through various members of one family that was on Block Island for a couple hundred years. And one of the children's voices we got the voice of a little boy on the third floor, and I was asking who was messing with my K2 and my other gear, and I heard a little boy's voice say, "Uh-oh, get going. Oh, I'm sorry," and then get going, and then you heard footsteps running, and like they were running out of the room. And I had K2 activity in the room that I was in, and then Scott and Catherine were in the other side of the suite, and they had K2 activity, and then it was nothing. So then, upon talking to the woman, like months later, she ends up telling us a story about an 11-year-old nephew that was the nephew of the owner at the time, Carter Champlin, the guy who owned the building for like 50 years. And he went down to where New Harbor meets Old Harbor. There's a bridge. You jump off the bridge, and you can jump into the channel. But if you jump into the channel when the tide's going through, it sucks you under, and that's how the kid died. He drowned in 1963. So we think that the kid was haunting the building because, he died there. He was born and raised there. That's all he knew, and that's where he went back to. There's nothing evil about it. He's just there looking for his family, No,
I know, but kids in general don't know what they're talking about or doing in the half part, and they need someone to give them some sort of guidance. That's just
Mike.
Good.
During the end of World War II, the Allies finally broke the Nazi code. They used the Christopher machine.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't let the Germans know that yet to see if it was actually broken properly. So Winston Churchill allowed a village in northern London to be bombed and thousands to die just to make sure he knew we broke the code successfully so he could win the war. And knowing that ultimately won the war. So his take on that was people are going to die. Kids are going to die. Women are going to die. But if this is true, win the war and stop the Nazi scourge and save millions of lives. And he did it. Many people in the paranormal are trying to see if equipment works, if this will work, if that will work, to kind of bridge the other side. So there was experimenting. I know that a child is behind rest, but it's like a drug clinic where you're trying to make sure this works. So some of them don't even think about what you're thinking about, the morality of it, thinking about, my gosh, if I create this, I can then everyone can talk to their relatives in the near future. How cool would that be? So
Chris, here's what you're scaring me with though. What if someone came up with a virus and everyone had to do a certain thing and take a certain thing to prevent it. I guess what I'm trying to say is like so just because everybody's being told to do something or they believe that it's right at the moment doesn't make it right long term.
Correct.
Right?
Often.
And here's the thing about science. Science is always wrong. Why? Because it's always evolving. So science should never be right. It should always be it was like the George Collins skit. Like he's like, I'm waiting for a moment. It's not here yet. Hold on. He'd go, all right, it's gone. And that's what I kind of mean. Like science is like it's right the moment you write it down, but then it changes.
It's the best we can do. It's the best we can do that moment.
If they could tell us up front, just like the paranormal, things are going to change. They're not going to be like we said they are. We don't know how it's going to end up. You might not see nothing. Here's how it goes. That's easier to digest for me. Like now I'm on track with you. You're talking to me in a way.
They should always say that. They should always say that. Any investigation, you should be told nothing may happen.
Right.
Have a good time anyway. Look at the structure, the architecture, look at the history of this place. And if something does happen, cool, we'll review it. I think anybody who is an experienced investigator, coordinator will tell people, hey, listen, it's an active place, but there's no guarantees on this.
Right. There's never a guarantee.
Yeah.
I that's the thing. And that's great you say that. Because, like, I would go on a ghost hunt again for the camaraderie, for any kind of personal type things that happen. I'm not a big fan on trying to catch evidence. Does that make sense? I don't even believe in the word.
Yeah.
I don't even believe in the word evidence anymore.
I know. It's data. It's data.
Data.
Listen,
Yeah. Data.
Most people who do investigations, it's fun for them. They enjoy it. Going to spooky house. Their friends are there. They make it dressed up. Try a new place. And it's very people who sit home for 10 hours with the things going. Shh. That's very, very infrequent. You know, for most people, let's have a nice time. Let's enjoy this. It's exciting. I went to that house and this house, and I remember a TV show. I was there too. They're casual armchair observers. That's fine. That's where the money comes from. People want to have a nice time.
See,
that's
now,
the fun part of it. The not fun part of it is reviewing like 40 hours of 4 different cameras of absolutely nothing.
But most people come
to assholes sitting in the dark.
Yes.
But see, what you're doing is you're not exploiting. You're not you're telling your story. You're making people relate to you. You're relating to people in your story. And it's going to be, your story is more about you and your internal struggle, which again is more relatable.
Well, I began telling my experience before I knew who the ghost even was. For me, it never was about proving anything. It's about sharing what happened, because it must mean something. And I'm convinced that what I say can affect people in a positive way, because I survived whatever it is that people think it was. A demon, a lost soul, a spirit, a succubus, whatever they call an alien, who cares? I don't care what they think it was.
Ex-wife.
I just want to make sure they understood I survived, and here's how, because you in your life will experience things that you need to survive, and maybe something I did will help you. Now, yeah, I mean, people sometimes don't pay me to show up. It's true. No hotel things like that.
They have to do. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Go buy? You gonna pay your own way?
I don't want my retirement money trying to go. Exactly right. So I don't exploit it. And a lot of times I get the books away. I just give the books away to people and the money because I want to read this. This hopefully helps you. But again, every person is different. There are folks who listen. If you're performing a service, you get paid for the service. Period. You know. And so again, I try to live my own life. I try to lead by example, and that's the best I can do. But I don't get caught up in what others are doing. Because if I do that, I stop doing. If I spend all my time thinking what he or she is doing or saying, I'm stopping myself. I just don't. I said, listen, that's your business. Your business. Love each other. Have a beer together. Go for a walk together. Stop, and then, then just go forward.
Chris, have you ever been to Block Island? You ever been to Block Island?
Almost. I almost ran the Block Island 10K in 1983, but something happened. I didn't get a chance to go there.
I'm gonna invite you now, right now, online, live.
Yeah.
come down for a weekend. We will do like they do ghost tours. We're hooking up with a bar that does the ghost tours on Block Island.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You'll come down, be the ghost boy of and I just spell it Geneseo because I pronounce it wrong every time. So screw it.
Yeah.
And Geneseo. And we'll label you as the attraction, right? And you can tell your story. But the three of us could also be on Block Island having beers at night, hanging out the Isaac's bar, staying at the hotel, having a blast. So I'm inviting you to come down, speak. We'll make sure you stay at a hotel. You'll be on Block Island. You get to drink
It
with
would
Buddy.
have to be seasonal. It would have to be seasonal.
It'll be time towards the summertime. I'm telling you that much.
April to like October.
Yeah, they run ghost tours on that island all the time. That's a very haunted place. And the
Super
team
haunted.
that runs the ghost tours happens to be headed up by a guy who was in a band that I was in a band. And at one point, the two of us made both our bands play on stage together. 2 drummers, like 3 guitar players. We call it the Two-Headed Monster. It was a huge success. We sold out.
Awesome show.
And he was there. So we sold it out. So this kid's like the kind of kid that I trust. Like I'm trying to surround myself with people that I trust and that are honest, like real, right? They tell me when they don't like shit that I say. He's planning a whole summer for his ghost tours, but we're getting involved with him, right? And I want to get people to come down to be like, he's like, you gotta get like, if we can get like speakers or like someone to be like a name to come down. And I'm thinking, out of all the people I know, who would I like to have a vacation? Like, who deserves a fucking vacation? I'm like, because let's think about it. Because Block Island, like, come down, you'd be like, yeah, ghost. This is great. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm asking you now to see when your busy schedule clears up throughout the summer.
Yeah.
If we can get you to Block Island for a weekend. Oh my God!
Get me a little bit in advance so I can plan.
That would be all, buddy. That would be.
We'll do the bars. We'll do the ghost places. We'll do the beaches.
If it's a month away, it's too late. Just so you know. So get me in advance.
No, we'll hit you up in advance. But is be ready to be the ghost boy of what is it again? Pronounce it.
Oh my God.
But I don't want to mispronounce it because I sound like an idiot. What is it? It's Geneseo?
Yes, Geneseo.
Geneseo.
I'd like to see.
Geneseo. Look, I get the Cesare right. I get points for that. But Geneseo. Okay. So the ghost boy of Geneseo, right? Bang. And you've never been to Block Island, dude. We'll get one. We'll rent those little scooters, dude, and it will be.
What do you drive the scooters? I'm gonna bring my truck out there though.
Well, I'll be driving scooters. I'll be doing everything I possibly can. Have a good time, man. Because like paranormal and fun. I know that doesn't sound right, but you can separate the two.
Perfect.
Why can't you go out at night, do paranormal, and then come back and have fun?
You can.
There it is. That's what I'm saying, buddy. Right?
Right. Absolutely, Mike.
Chris, well, I'm sorry. I appreciate you putting up with us. We are by far. And we've had shows, right, where people don't understand us, like, or at least me. But we've only had, Chris, one bad show the whole time we've been doing the show for 2 years. I've only had one bad guest. You know why? I never challenge anybody anything they say. I never say they're wrong. But when they bully us or try to show slides, it's like, nah, that's not gonna go. So we just had one incident. But other than that, paranormal people have been pretty sincere people. Buddy,
he was a weird cat.
Yeah, right. Chris, tell us about the Netflix special. Give us a little wrap up session, because I know I kept it too long. But
no, that's right. I really can't say that word in air. I can't say the N word on air. So
all right,
real thing. But
the nowadays channel.
Let's just say the world's largest streaming service. How about that?
All right.
They're going to be filming at Geneseo with a hub in Rochester, most likely in February. It's a mini series, so it's a lot. It's not just like an hour TV show. It's like 4 or 5 hours straight, no commercials. It's a big deal, and I have to make sure that I can get there when I can get there. So looks like February. They're looking at probably a summer release. It's an exciting thing.
Awesome, dude. It's great for you. I'm like, you're one of the people that I'm so happy things are happening for. Like other people, again, they're exploiting things. They're doing things. They cut edges. You're just telling a story,
No,
man.
well, it's not a story, it's experience. I share my experience because
True.
story means you're kind of making it up. So I'm very big on that word. But listen, they reached out to me in February. Say, hey, you want to be part of this? I'm like, okay. I don't advertise. I don't push myself on people. I don't have the crossed arms and make scowling faces on my picture. I'm just me. The people wanted to hear my experience, and I'll share it with them. That's what I do. And so far, it seems to work because I'm not trying to, as you say, take advantage of anybody. And so it will be most likely the biggest thing I ever do outside of having a family and things, because it will reach around the globe. And it's Raw TV. They made Race for the White House and Woodstock 99, things like that. It's a great production company. Kelly Nobe has been a great person to talk to. They're treating me nicely. They respect me. I respect them. So I believe in this project. I'm looking forward to it. And the question in the chat room was, when's the book coming out? With a memoir potentially be released with the Netflix special. So it comes out together. And I think that'd be and listen, it may not happen with, who knows, COVID comes back, the war in Ukraine gets worse, but I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and it'll be a chance for me one more time to get out there and say, hey, listen, love your people around you, appreciate your life, taste your food, listen to music. Come on, enjoy the good things in life before it stops.
You want to hear something crazy? And obviously I had no effect on this, but this is just weird effect of life. I have one person that I know of within the nowadays streaming network family that about I want to say about 8 months ago, I was asked about, because this person deals with horror stories, and I was asked about stories that we've had or people that we've had. And I mentioned 3 people that would be of interest to this person. And you were one of the 3. And I wish that person would, and he's in that family. I wish he would have reached out to you. It sounds like you got snatched up by somebody else within that family. But I remember telling this person, this person, this person, and this person. These are the 3 stories that are they're stories. Again, they're not stories.
I know, I hear you.
But they're if you want to make a story, if you want to stretch something out to something because Netflix nowadays is like this. They want to know the entire thing.
Yes.
They want to know it. And sometimes, if you're doing a series, because I'm on that side of it, you can't give them just the first season. You got to give a cliffhanger, and you have to have at least the first 2 or 3 episodes of the second year, right?
Yep, true.
So when I found out that they connected to you, I reached out to the person that I knew in Netflix, and I said, so and so again. Nowadays, God damn it, Chris.
Nowadays, Mike.
I said the guy nowadays, because I don't even know what that other word I said was. I reached out to the guy nowadays, and I said, this person might be working with you guys. Have you heard anything about it? I'm like, that's one of the people I told you about. You blew it. That was a conversation I had, and he laughed, and he didn't hear about it. But I'm so
it's under the radar. It's London.
No, but dude, your story stuck out, buddy. Be honest. I mean, I'm not trying to blow smoke up his ass. I don't do that.
Not at all. So, all right, as somebody that did the Paracon scene, I've seen Chris multiple times on the bill as one of the lecturers, and he was always somebody that I always wanted to go see. Now, I've heard Chris tell his story about at least 8 or 9 times at this point, and every time I get something new out of it, and every time that different perspective, that different feel, and you could always feel his story. You felt like you were holy shit, this guy's not only real, you feel like you were there with him. And it's an absolutely incredible story. I'm so glad it's getting told on nowadays, and that'd be great to share with the world, to share actual paranormal experiences, because it's very subjective to the person that's happened to it. And you can't really you can't really regenerate that for in every experience.
They're not making a movie; it's gonna be a documentary. So not like the Conjuring things, a documentary with real people talking. So they want to make it the scariest thing ever done that's real, not based on a true story. So I'm very honored by them. That's why it's all hush hush. They have to make sure I don't go someplace else. Paramount Plus doesn't take me or things like that. And they've been good so good. I won't leave any place. But I mean, I was on Sci-Fi, cool. Travel Channel, cool. But this is 10 times that. And it's
absolutely.
I really hope I don't die before it happens. I want to make sure I get that far and get that, check that box, then go.
This is your legacy, man. This is
2 things though. One, if you want to work out and get ready for the show, you can work out, man. I'll give you some advice. We'll get in on it. will get you
Personal
ripped.
trainer.
You know, you want to be able to show the abs when you're on the show.
Like
Because
the
you
old
didn't
days.
you didn't have abs. You'd be like, yes, I did. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, why not? Like Ben Stiller when he was in Meet the Parents. Like he's got abs. Why? No needs any
that'd
reason.
be perfect.
And secondly, so if you're filming a docuseries with this nowadays, there has to be an Italian in that, buddy, right? There has to be one Italian. I can shave the beard, look
Chris
younger.
is an Italian, Mike. He's
And all I have to say is, "Oh, guy, a ghost." Chris, that's all I'm asking. I'm asking 3 seconds. I'll give you an 8x10. You tell him, look, this guy's money. He can do characters. He can do voices. I can do 12 different voices. I used to do a puppet show. I'm not joking. I just want to say, guy, that's a ghost or something like that. That's it. That would be for me. See what you're doing? That's for me. I just want to go one time. Oh, guy, that's a ghost. I'd replay that over and over.
Listen to me, Paul. I'm talking to you. If it were a movie, we could do that because it wouldn't. You could be anybody you want to be, but it's a documentary. It's the people who are there going to be in it. You know what I'm saying? It's no actors, just all.
Yeah, but are you sure that you don't remember an Italian? Think about it. You had some things happen to you, so maybe there was an Italian that happened to be around there. Aspetta, stu not. Hey,
that was different. That was band camp.
Yeah, that was band camp.
Once.
You know what? The best part about Chris is that you can try to mess with him, but he messes back with you.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate, because some people, they just go, why is he messing with me? Well, other people mess back.
It's fun.
Chris, anything else, though, that you'd like to wrap up with?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say to both of you guys, thank you for putting up with me. I really appreciate it. I don't know what next year's going to bring. It'll be kind of crazy in a cool way. I just hope that as things progress and you see things going well, you say a prayer for me now and then, have a drink on my behalf, and just wish me well so I can see you next summer at Block Island.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a very positive feeling about it. I really do.
Cool.
So I think you're going to be very successful. Now, we can let you go or you can stay around. Buddy has a very big beer announcement for Legit Paranormal.
I'll hang for that.
All right. I don't want to keep you sitting around, but it's actually a big deal for us.
Yeah,
and it's going to be one of the things that help us. Listen, there's a bunch of paranormal groups within our area of New England, right? We don't want to be Coke or Pepsi or RC Cola. We're going to be Sprite.
Or Mountain Dew, for that matter.
Whatever. We're not going to go the same route. We're not going to try to do the same thing. We're going to try to get all new ghost teams to report stuff, because I really want to reach out to the new ghost teams, see what they're doing, and especially from different cities, states. What's the difference? How do you what's your background check? What do you do before you? To me, that's the most. I actually pitched that to the same guy at the Nowadays thing. I said, wouldn't it be great if we had like a headquarters set up, and it was like all these monitors, and we could constantly be do it like almost like a talk soup meets like a news thing where we're like, bang, showing a clip of someone that they saw something. Bang, from this state, wham. And we're talking about different places. We're getting more people rub by showing their footage, right?
Yeah.
Helping people out because they want. Look, I do not want a career in the paranormal. Do not. But if I can help people, I'm just saying, no. If I can help people get a career in the paranormal, I'm down for that. Like, in other words, in 5 years from now, Buddy will be just whoever he wants to be.
Buddy already is.
The head of everything. The head of everything. And I'll be like with my walker trying to figure out like if I can get to the track on time because I want to bet the horses. That's basically what I'm saying. You know, and I don't mind that. Like, I really don't. The Giants are 6-2. I give a shit.
Yo, Mikey, Baron Bunter, 5th race, win, play, show.
Oh, dude. You don't know. I would go up and be like, give me like the 6Y. Come back. My dad be like, what'd you do? I put $2 on Exacta. Did you box it? No. What are you, Stunad? What do you mean? Why? What if he goes, would you pick the 6-2? I said, yeah. What if it's 2-6? I'm like, well, then I lose, Dad. Hey, God, if you boxed it, you got them both.
It's right. They
always knew. Yes. Or like blackjack. Oh my God, I am so good at blackjack because my dad taught me to play blackjack to the point where, like, when someone's at the table and they do something wrong, I'm not the guy that goes, "Don't do that." But there are people that say that.
No.
And I'm at a point now where I just keep my mouth shut and I go, "Yeah, I don't feel bad for that person."
That's on you. That's right.
Anything? All right. So I'm sorry. I will talk about dumb stories. Buddy knows this forever.
You
Buddy,
bet.
go ahead. The floor is all yours.
Oh, good lord! So this evening, my beer of the evening was Lion Cider, who graced us with 12 delicious of their finest beers. Mike has Mike. What do you got going on over there?
I
By
am
Lion
drinking
Cider.
Buffalo Check. I already drank the other
it's
one. I
Buffalo
have a
Check,
Dark
Mike.
Check, and I have a Schwarzenegger.
Jeff was talking about Buffalo Check. How did you like it?
I'm drinking it right now. It's pretty good, Jeff.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So I started with Ocean Lust. It's a double IPA, Vic's Secret, Australian hops, very sweet, very delicious. Then I moved to Little Ocean. It's their single IPA. It was their like Vic's Secret. It had some sweet citrusy taste.
Are you going to speed up the story and tell us about all the flavors?
I'm going to tell this. I got to go through
All
my
right.
beers.
All right.
Them, like,
All right.
Chipuxet Wit. Chipuxet.
Yep.
Is the brewer, and Uxet is like a common like every other
All
village
right.
in Rhode Island, right?
Yeah.
London Dungeon, their porter, very delicious. Shades on. Thank you so much, Chip Sampson.
Let me,
for your
buddy,
lovely donation.
buddy.
I'm
buddy.
not a big fan of this one. Sea and Sand. I like all
Buddy.
the other ones. Yes, Mike.
Plug it. Stop showing all his beers and get to the meat of the conversation.
I'm going to get to the meat, Mike. I'm building
Okay.
up the meat. I did
Building
not
up
like
the
Sea
meat.
and Sand. My hot burn doesn't like the malt. So the big announcement, if you will. So on Friday, I had the pleasure of meeting with the assistant brewer of Lion Cider Brewing, which is co-owned by New England Patriots.
I'm out.
New England Patriots center Dan Copen and their assistant brewer Kyle. He met with us and he wants to brew with us our own beer. Call it maybe Legit Paranormal, and it will have, because we're a ghost kind of group, it'll have a ghost pepper taste in the back of it, and it'll be brewed by Lion Cider, again out of East Greenwich. They have a mass distributing capability, and they'll put out. Hopefully, we'll be able to put our beers in the bars on Block Island,
Providence, all the rock bars,
and possibly even Cape Cod. So visit your local bars next year.
But we're not done.
Legit Paranormal Brew and Legit Paranormal Beer.
We're not done though.
We're not done yet either. We're not done yet.
The other brewery said they would make
Six Pack Brewing in Bristol. We already talked to the guy, Mark Pappy, a lovely guy. Him and his daughter own the brewery. It's in Bristol. It's what is it? Like right off 138. Lovely brewery. All the beers are named after dogs. This one in particular, Timmy, Six Pack Brewing. Timmy, it's a double IPA, so it's something that Buddy would like because it's more hoppier, more stronger in alcohol content.
Yep,
that's what I like, obviously.
Yep, that's true.
And they're going to take that one. They're going to relabel that as Legit Paranormal Brew, and then they're going to take their.
Wait, I got this part.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
So now we have the Legit Paranormal beer being made that will be coming out next year. Now we have the other brewery making 2 beers for us that will be out hopefully by the end of November.
We're hoping when the labels. I'm waiting on the label creation right now.
Now, I asked the guy, "You're from Rhode Island your whole life, right?" He's like, "Yep." I'm like, "You Italian by any chance?" He's like, "Oh yeah."
Am I happy? Yeah.
I go, "All right, let me write down the name of my beer for you." And Buddy has no idea I'm going to pitch this guy a second beer, like Chris at all. Like we're going there to pitch Paranormal Brew, but I have something else in mind. I'm like, for like a lighter beer, what about Bar Fangool? Because that's the name of my bar where I sit
and it's
right
an
now.
Italian Pilsner.
It's
How
spelled
much better is that?
My bar is spelled BARFONGOOL. Bar Fangool. That is the best name ever I've ever thought about. I've stuck with it my whole life. Now, I said to the guy, when you put that name up on the list of all these beers, right? People come in, they pick names like they're picking horses at the race. Like they're the best name they see. I said, if you put this name up on that board, you're trying to tell me people aren't going to order that beer from Italian? I mean, from Rhode Island. He's like, no, they then he saw that name. He was like, oh yeah, that name.
That worked. Salute. Yes.
Who's not going to drink a Bar Fangool?
I know.
Hey,
guy. Now, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I'm saying
an Italian Pilsner named Bob Fangool. Come on,
guy. Like, look, people are trying to do this, do that, do this. We're gonna make beer. We're gonna we're gonna keep this local, but try to expand and not step on anyone's toes, right? We're gonna do Sprite. We're gonna be our own thing. We're gonna present paranormal in a different way. Our goal is conversations. That's all that I'm interested in. I want personal conversations. I am starting to drift away from larger names, like people that that have really established themselves, because it's like, what can we do for them? Not much. Like, you don't. What do you, I'm in a shirt that we call a wife beater around this area. Like, what am I gonna do for you? Like, but if they're newer, they're younger, they haven't tried yet. They're new ghost hunters, investigators, whatever you want to call them. Those are the people that I'm really interested in, man. The people that are getting into this, because they're on the beginning of a journey that I've now heard from so many people that I've built up some sort of, like, past of it. That is there nothing better than to try to get some of the more seasoned people to reach out to the younger groups and explain, like, yeah, you do this, you don't do that, so that we start to get everything more, I don't know, not uniform. I would never say that, but like just more like they need to know the do's and don'ts. Does that make sense? Like these groups.
That makes absolute sense, Mike. I commented on a post today. A woman posted a picture on a group page, and it looked like a hair being photographed through a flash. And that's exactly what I said. And she's like, "Oh no, it's a finger. It's a ghost. It's this. It's that." And they're like, "No, you gotta like look at every end." She's like, "Oh no, you're hating on me." I'm like, "No, I'm just being skeptical of your photo. I'm not trying to like say you're an asshole or anything. I just like trying to be like have an open mind." And that's just.
Hey, buddy. Chris
up,
has been frozen. All right, he just moved. I thought he was frozen in that position. I thought
he was blinking, dude. I see him move. Yeah, he's moving right now.
I got really nervous right there.
His mouth's just open. He's doing Italian things, Mike. He's okay.
Chris, let me ask you this. Having a beer is a good idea. Having a beer on Block Island is an even better idea. Having events on Block Island is even a better idea. Now, we did a couple of shows. We've done one show so far where we had a couple of speakers come up, and we wanted them to speak at a bar, almost like a stand-up comic. In other words, we were trying to get people out of their comfort zone, get them to not recite what they recite every time they're at every Paracon. Right. And can I just say one thing about Paracons? When are the Paracon people going to realize that, like, setting up a bingo hall and putting long tables that people sell their DVDs, books, and like other stuff, that's just not that much fun. Like, I'm paying money to walk into a bingo hall. It's basically like a Christmas bazaar when I was in 6th grade. Like, can we just make it more like interactive? Like, I know the guest speakers speak, but
Chris is always awesome to listen to.
I'm not saying Chris. I'm asking Chris because I know Chris would be one of the people that would have an answer for this. You can't speak to everybody. I get that. A lot of people have issues, and you don't want to get caught up in that. But what I'm saying is, at the Paracons, other than just speaking, I feel like that the people that are speakers should be walking around the entire time having conversations, because that's what they signed up for. It shouldn't be just they speak and they give us a speech. I want to see them interact with people. I want to see them talk with people. I want to see real fucking conversations.
That happens sometimes. There are a couple people who are very good at that. There's a guy named Jeffrey Leeper. He's hilarious. There was some young lady walked into the room we were in, and he says, "Excuse me, ma'am." She says, "Yes. Do me a favor." "What's that?" "Take my picture." He says, "Okay." He takes a picture of his pocket of himself and gives it to her. It's a picture. Love it. She's like, "Thank you." So yeah, people do that.
Like, but see, that's what I'm like. In other words, why I put
on the person. A lot of people at conventions are vendors who aren't comfortable getting down. They can't leave their tables. Others are like groups, so who has to speak when. So, but there's some folks. I do this. I always walk around. It's a joke. I'm never at my table ever. I'm always walking around, hobnobbing, talking, saying hello, meeting people. That's what I do. That's what I like. So, but that's on the individual, and the event promoter, if they can, should get people who will do more than just sit at the table, signing autographs, and then talk and then go home. But again, if the person doesn't live end up of the bargain, not invited back. I always believe that when I speak, it can be someone for the very first time they hear my experience. I always give 100% every time I speak, because it's like a new thing for them. And then people have been there 8, 10, 15 times. I always make sure I had one new element I haven't talked about before to make sure it's worth their while too to focus on. So I'm always trying to adjust what I say, not the facts, just what I emphasize.
Yeah, that's why I like to ask questions to throw people off their story so that people can understand the person speaking better. I've also learned from Norm Macdonald that if I pretend that I'm dumber than I am, it puts people at ease and they're more willing to speak.
Yeah,
Because
that's true.
nobody wants to talk to an intelligent guy that's like nobody wants a comic to come out and be like, I'm smarter than you guys. Here we go. It's like, you don't relate to you at all. They want to hear about a guy who
Right.
comes out and he's like, I can't even fucking fix a flat tire. And they're like,
Yeah,
that
me too.
dummy
Yeah,
I know.
exactly. Yeah, that's right. It's me too. Yeah.
But I'm
then
saying,
you're connected now. You're connected.
yeah. And I think it's with this is Tom's World. Hold on. In Gettysburg, Chris was a speaker, but also talked a lot to people on the floor of the convention. He's just an all-around awesome. All right, Chris. Is this you typing this?
No.
Because, or is it your publicist? Because Tom, Tom, you don't have one negative thing to say about the guy, really? Because I know Buddy for a long time.
Give me time to answer first.
Right? I know Buddy for a long time. I'll tell you some problems with him. He's a Dolphins fan. They're losers. I'm sorry. They haven't even been in the Super Bowl since '84. The last Tua is their last hope. I mean, other than Marino, name me one good Dolphins quarterback since. Ready? Go.
I can't go. I gotta defer right now, Mike.
All right. Chris.
Douchebag.
I know I am. Buddy, are you all set? Whatever you got to say?
Just tune in next week. We had this week we had a high school history teacher, right? Who was accosted by the paranormal. Next week we'll have a college professor that was accosted by aliens. Tune in for Wes G. Roberts. He has a great story, and it'll be fun to listen to.
Wow, you had that planned, that whole transition.
Mike, it's been spinning. The mouse has been running on this wheel for the past half hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, good job, buddy, because I saw smoke come out your ears, and I'm like, this kid's thinking.
Mike, a little bit of smoke.
He's thinking. Chris, anything that we did not add, you'd like to add, promote, just mention?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Then I'm gonna end with this. I had a great time. You're always fun to talk to. Sorry we kept you so long, but literally, I think me and you could go on and on and on and on for hours. And Buddy every now and then could say like, "That's correct, Mike." What was it? What was your line?
I don't know what my
logical. That's logical.
That's logical.
Stick with that, buddy. We can do it all hours, man. I really appreciate it. I wish you nothing but success. I think anybody that's been watching this, if you want to find out more, look Chris up and look out in the future for anything that comes out with him in it, named for it. Even though there's no Italian guys, I don't understand that.
I'm gonna be there. Whoa.
No, guy. No offense. You're a blonde Italian. You're from the southern. You're Southern Italian.
No, I'm Northern Napolitan.
My bad. All right. Wait. But the blonde Italians came from. You sure?
Up north, down to the mountains, from Switzerland,
Right.
from Germany. Yeah, France.
I was close to Sicily. I know that.
That's the boot.
Yeah. I know where we came from. Like I don't know, family came from both little cities. It's ridiculous. They all came over around the same time. It's ridiculous.
I think it's
But again, I appreciate it. This is why I do the show, buddy. You know that.
Right.
I do it for conversations. I do it because I want to get to talk about things that, even like mental health, just mix that in, because anything you can do to enlighten somebody, to help them. And the dumbest things, dude, I realize is like the simplest acts of kindness can actually snowball into something so big for somebody that I've decided in my life to stick to my guns, do what I think is right, and then deal with the consequences afterwards. If I know that I'm doing something right and I know that I'm going to get blowback for it, I'm still going to do it if I know that it's right. That's where I'm at. People are afraid of the blowback. That's the big issue in life. And I'm not, because I don't give a shit. What do I care? Where am I going? Who am I? I don't care. You know? I mean, serious. Like, what? Dude, listen to me. I'm like 9-3 this week on football. I could go back to doing legit fantasy sports. You know this, buddy. I'm money in the bank, Chris. I've been giving people picks for weeks. I've been so on fire with football that it should be paranormal. How is that not paranormal that I can predict upsets? The Jets won today. Who told you that?
Yeah, you're an asshole.
I'm just saying. So I do have my own paranormal abilities, I believe. It's just more in the sports world. So, but I love this show. You were one of our, I think, 7th guests, one of our very first guests.
He was number 6, Mike, and now he's again number 94. So
wow, we are 6 away.
That's 100. That's 100. Get them together.
Yeah.
Do the math.
What are we gonna do for the 100 show?
we have a guest.
Can we bring other people on?
We could bring other people on.
Kind of like Battle of the Network Stars. Oh man, dude! If they ever did Battle of the Paranormal Stars, holy shit! We get Chris because he can run the relay.
You can run, dude. Yeah.
And then, buddy, me and you we can do whatever else they need to do.
Just hit people, whatever. I don't care.
Dude, I'll be like Scott Baio in that motherfucker. I'll be jumping the wall. I'll be kicking this shit out of every other podcast, every other paranormal team that wants to step up and play us and that kind of thing. As long as we get Chris
and he can
we
run.
Get Matt Warner. I want to get Matt Warner. You get Matt Warner.
Yeah.
And Justin, right?
Yeah.
So we get the power guys.
Mm-hmm.
No one's beating us. Let's do this.
Muscle.
Like Mr. T running the
running in balls. Yeah, that's it.
Chris, if we do a battle of the Paranormal Stars, you have to be on our team.
All right.
No, I'm holding you to that. I don't care. I don't care if the big names call you. I don't care if the big names call you, Chris.
Yeah.
Said it here first.
Yeah.
The last leg of these guys. Guys, I had a great time. So for Chris DeCesare, for Buddy Money, they're the ace of beers. It's me, Mike Lebry King, Mike Hill. This was Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. Tomorrow night at 8:05, we have a Legit Vacation Paranormal Planners, where we book you on a vacation to someplace that either has horrific murders, paranormal events, or other stuff like that. So far, we haven't booked one single trip. I don't know why we keep doing it, but it's a lot of fun and people get a lot of information. We will see you again tomorrow night. Thank you. And be on the lookout for Chris DeCesare.